because we are headed into the eclipse in April. So that's just a few weeks away, and it's super, super cool.
Super, super.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. We love hearing you on the chat, so please don't be shy. We admit more people. All right, you guys. Here we go.
Kristen, are you hearing Jeneth in your mic?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Very clear. Thank you.
Okay, now I can't hear her at all. Okay, try again.
Yeah, everything's clear on my end. I can hear you.
I can hear you. Yeah.
I can't hear her well. Can you?
It's quieter, and you're quieter as well.
Okay. Let's see. Let me turn you up.
How's the sound for everyone else? Is it good?
There we go. Okay. Yes, that was all me. Sorry about that. Okay.
Just a little bit back down.
You want yours down? It's
No, it's good.
You want it louder?
No, it's fine. Hi, hello, everyone. Good morning, Montreal. Wow, it's spring here. Yes, exciting. Sound is good. Thank you. Everything's live, as you remember. So we do a lot of behind the scenes and getting ready, and that's kind of what makes it fun. So you get to, jive in on that too.
We're all here. Okay. All right, let me go ahead and start the recording and introduce Kristen to you, and we'll go ahead and get started. Let me get up her little information. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Jeneth Lyanca.
And I'm Lyanca Jeneth.
And this is the Hot Hustle Show. Today we're talking with Kristen Bielecki, and we are talking about multi-dimensional connections and really how to unlock some of the secrets to your true essence. Kristen works with the masters and the councils, and she works with the crystalline grid of the earth and the unified field. So I think we're going to have a lot of fun and play energetically. Today, we are going to have two speakers again, so make sure that you hang out with us as long as you can. Kristen, one of the things that I understand that you do is you really like to work almost on helping people upgrade and harmonize. And can we kind of just start there on what does that really mean to harmonize and upgrade?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And I'm really feeling a lot of these upgrades happening right now. A lot of shifts going on in the field, and especially with spring and that feeling of movement forward. And I'm actually in Arkansas. You're in Texas, so we have that similar, weather going on. It's just gorgeous. And upgrades and harmonization is, I love this. So upgrading is really creating a new perspective, a new vision, a new lens, a new awareness, a new way of being in the body and in the mind and the heart. And so really it takes that experience of going, wow, who am I in the way that I view the world? Who am I in the way that the world has viewed me, and that I've conditioned my life through, and how would I like to shift that and upgrade my life, and upgrade it to a possibility that is more joyful, more harmonized, where harmony comes in, that my mind and my heart are connected. My true passions and my thoughts are in alignment. My physical body and how I'm communicating with my physical body and how I'm wanting to experience my internal and external reality harmonize. Right? That it's in tune. The frequency and the resonance of what I'm thinking is the same of what I'm really feeling, rather than, those internal battles and struggles that we can go through when when we feel that maybe we're confused or we're doubting or we're frustrated and we're holding a lot of thoughts and feelings that we're not tending to, and that's where we really get out of harmony, because we build up a lot of energy around things that we're not truly allowing ourselves to really have communication with. And so these upgrades are really about creating that deep inner listening and connection connection to the self, and doing the shift and transformation work that allows that clarity and the honesty and that passion and the love and the connection to build to where our frequency is really, abundant and rich, in the way that we move and think and feel.
Yeah.
That sounds so lovely. But it also, for someone like me that has been on my journey, well, my question is how long have you been, were you always this way, or what was kind of your path here? Give us a little bit of the backstory of how you got to arrived at this, because it sounds lovely, but sometimes for me, I forget to, whoa, I forget to,
Big bug.
be in that space and to really be the gift, accept the gift of what life has to offer in all of these areas.
Yeah, absolutely. It's super easy in the way our lives are constructed to do that. It's a part of the human reality right now that actually is a gift in a way, because it allows us to go,
Yeah, I got that.
what do I
Wow.
really want to be doing? Is this really where my priorities are, my focus or my values want to be contained? And I feel that as we're going through these shifts right now, it's really bringing that up for a lot of people, going, ooh,
Mm-hmm.
putting my energy. And
Mhm.
that's where I started, was really recognizing energy. As a young
Yeah.
child, I was very uh, unhappy. I was not, I recognized that I wasn't happy being in life. And I remember just looking out at the world and feeling the world, looking from that space and that, body of like, oh, like, what is this,
Yes, yes.
and,
What happened?
and,
Where am I
and
at?
it's interesting because, I played a lot, I had a lot of neighborhood friends, I grew up in that era where we all just ran wild in the neighborhood.
Loved it.
We were,
Yeah.
what we were doing. So we had that freedom. But I also, years later, when I can look back on it, I also recognize that I was picking up a lot and recognizing a lot of unhappiness and all of what we might call the negative emotions, or you know, dissociation and disresonance in families. Because when I
Yeah.
look back at my
Yeah.
childhood, I was like, there was nobody that was happy as an adult on that block.
Yeah. I gather that. Uh-huh.
There was illness, there was, tragedy, there was all this stuff. And I just feel like I was just like, whoa, this is not like the life that I thought I was going to be stepping into, right? It was like I had that cognizance as a child. And so, and then as I grew up, so it just kind of made me close off. It made me close off to life and the world. And I just kind of went into this space of like, okay, I'm just going to stay here and I'm just going to let everything happen around me. And I don't,
Hmm.
even though I was involved, I played sports and different things, but then and then I was bullied when I switched from a Catholic school to a public school. And so then it made me angry. I was like, like, why is life like this?
Yes.
And then I remember I went back to Catholic school. And then I had this very clear thought in the summer between going from Catholic school to a public high school. And I was
That's a
shifting it.
big deal.
Yeah, I had this very clear thought of, I know I'm going back into public school. I know that my initial experience in public school was hell. That was much
Yes.
of it. So I'm going to try to focus on myself. I'm going to try to focus on something that makes me feel good. And it took a couple of years. It wasn't until like my junior year when it was all of a sudden like, I'm really going to focus on what I enjoy and what I like, because I was observing. Because I was always observing. And I saw these groups of people that seemed to be happy and, doing things they enjoyed. It was mostly the artists and the musicians, and things like that. I was like, I'm going to go make friends with them.
Yeah. They sound pretty fun anyway.
Yeah. So I did. And it just started opening me up to myself, and what do I really enjoy? What makes me happy? And then And then my sister, who was 15 months older than me, we were kind of close on and off growing up. And we had similar friends at some points. We had a great time. But she actually started getting the yoga journal.
Huh.
And so I was like, oh, that's cool. So I started, what turned me on was meditation.
Wow. At that age, the last thing I was doing was slowing down.
Right?
I partied, I did all the whole bit, but there was something in me that knew what that was.
That's amazing.
Yeah, there was something in me that understood what yoga was and what meditation was. And so I started exploring that. And I remember at the age of 20, when I was finishing up community college, and I was like, well, I was really connected with nature and earth. That was like my solace from a childhood.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hand in the dirt, in the trees, happy, is what happy could be at that point. And I remember at the age of 20, I was kind of getting to a point where, that whole party stage and everything. And I was like, you want to know what? Everything that I'm seeking, this is a thought that came in, I can experience through meditation.
Wow.
Expansion, the openness.
Yeah.
And then I ended up moving to California from New York State, where I grew up, and it just blew my whole system open. I ended up living with a spiritual community that I just happened into. And it was just like everything was opening up, and my intuition was opening up. And so I started to explore that. I was taking medical intuitive courses. I kind of took a little shaman course. And then after a while of developing, like really recognized that I had these abilities.
Yeah.
Travel the dimensions. I had these abilities to see what was going on in people's systems. And I just heard, you don't need to take any more courses. Just do what you know how to do.
I love that.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you're called to do a course, then you can choose it, right? But it's not a force or a have to before you can get going with anything.
Absolutely. It's like trusting trusting the self and trusting what you're receiving and feeling and noticing. And so for me, because it kind of became that idea of, I need that validation of the certification for people to listen to me.
I've been there. Yes.
Yeah. I'm sure other people listening can, relate to that too. And then it was like, I'm always a system buster too. I'm always like, yeah, whatever. This system that's in place is not the real system, so I don't need to be a part of it. So I was like, no, I don't need that.
Right.
And that's exactly why we're excited you're on the show. We love you. We love that kind.
Yeah. The humanoid kind.
Right? Busting through those systems.
The aliens out there. The ETs.
Yes.
Really creating and holding that space where we're not giving our power over to something that's false. And I think that's a part of the major upgrades that I've started to go through myself and then support other people in, is going, wow, what truly is the harmony of our being? Where do we really want to be putting our power and our energy and our focus? And start to dissolve all those connections in places where it even could just be, thoughts or ideas or conditions from childhood or whatever it is, or maybe a job matrix that we're like totally caught in that isn't really nurturing us and supporting us and letting ourselves really evolve and open to the level that we want to, or family dynamics, supporting, recognizing their roles in their family. And if they've been thinking they need to be a certain role, but then, oh, wait, that's not even really what my children want from me, but I keep thinking that I need to show up that way, or my husband or whatever, and just totally making the self. And that's like, so the upgrades are really just dissolving the ways that we've been operating that aren't really who we are and what's really resonant in our life. And boom, then when we step into that, the harmonization just naturally starts to happen.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Well, I would like to have the audience sample your work and kind of play with them. What would be the best way? Can we do like a little group activation with the Crystalline Grid?
Yeah, we could do that.
Or we can take callers, or what would be best for
Maybe
you?
a little both?
Or both? You want to do both? Let's do both.
Let's take some callers or questions in chat first.
And then we can...
Yeah.
I don't know that they know what question to ask yet. Can you kind of tell them what you can help them with?
Yeah, that's great.
And maybe you do one on us first as we get little people's hands raised.
Sure. Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny because I say the questions can be unlimited because I can just tap into the field and just doing, but I like to focus more on really getting clear on what it is that if you're having challenges with clarity, if you're having challenges with opening up to yourself, if there's fears or discomforts, if there's, I don't focus on future stuff. I don't do like future readings or supporting what's in alignment in your life. Is this job? Is this relationship or whatever? What can really, where's the change and where's the struggle? What's change you want to be making? And where's the struggle?
Look at that. Yeah.
Yeah, the struggle's real, man.
Yeah. Good. If we keep it in place, it will be right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What's going on?
Yeah. All right. Well, Dawn, sorry. Yes. Do you want to unmute, please? Thanks.
Good morning, ladies. Thanks so much for doing this. It fills my heart with joy to start my day with you.
Yay.
And I have been struggling, and that's not a secret. I think everybody in my realm of existence knows I've been struggling. I've been dealing with a lot of health and mental concerns and trying to find my way and my purpose. And I think we discussed before that part of my path forward is accepting that I'm a healer. And I'm wondering how best to do that, and maybe where my abilities came from, and how to explore them in a more full, rich way to make my life worth living and to be there for my family.
Wow, that's a full. Thank you for sharing.
Go big or go home, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just feeling that and just feeling that space inside of you where, there's that Dawn that has been, the Dawn that wants to become, and the Dawn that is, and I'm just seeing like this, strip of like, where am I in all of that?
Yeah.
Where am I in all of that? And so the question, so a lot of what I like to do is lead self-inquiry, not just give information, because that's where I feel like the juice is when you can go inside yourself, and I support the process, is going, what are you attached to? The question that was coming up as you were speaking is, what are you attached to from the old that's kind of still the pullback? What are you attached to?
Well, I think
Oh, you're muted.
being a healer.
Okay, you're attached to what? No, you're unmuted. It just broke up. You're attached to.
Okay. To being a healer for the universe as a whole, but particularly for my family. We've had a lot of trauma, and to heal the trauma in myself so that I'm my best self.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So it's always interesting, and this can go for anybody that's listening, is that a lot of times when we receive a message, Dawn, that we're something, that we have a skill or an ability, that we know that we can do something, there comes that confusion of like, well, what does that look like, right? How do I do that? What does that mean? But then there's also a lot of pressure. There can be also a lot of pressure that can be built up around that of going, oh, I'm this. It's like that label. So what I'm seeing is and calling yourself a healer, I feel like it creates a lot of tension in your body, like a lot of, especially in your sacral area, there's a lot of tension of like, oh, what is that? So what I'm hearing is that what might lighten the process is shifting the focus from I'm a healer, right, to how is it that I support and guide and facilitate healing? Because then it takes the responsibility off. Like, I'm the one doing the healing. right? And I see these threads from past lives too, because really when we let go of the idea that we're doing the healing, because we're really not, what we're doing is we're
No.
holding space for the energy to come in so that we have the clarity and the guidance to support
Yeah.
and facilitate the other person to be in a space to receive the healing that they are wanting and creating for themselves, right? So it's kind of when and I'm feeling that pressure. And then I'm just also seeing past lives and threads of yourself as being a healer. So I'm seeing persecution. I'm seeing places where you've taken so much energy on from doing your craft or doing your thing that it destroyed your system, right? So it's kind of, there feels like there's a lot of deeper healing that needs to happen here on redefining what it means for you to step into this new role and releasing a lot of the energy from the past that you're still carrying into what that means for you now. So it's like, and going, okay, so how does that resonate in this moment?
Absolutely, it does. And then it creates the question, how? And how do I do this fast?
Well, this is where we also get to open up to the divine timing, because the fast, that because I can feel that pace, that you're wanting to set, that isn't the pace, right?
Yes.
Going, okay, I know that all these things, I want to be able to tend to all these things in my life, with my family, with the universe, with the whole thing as a whole. But what needs to happen is right here first, right? Let's focus on your own inner connection to that and space. Take some deep breaths into it and invite from within the skills and the abilities, because you asked, where do the skills and abilities come from? And when we're in that tension, of, it's like, just like for anybody, when you receive that a vision or an idea, and then you're like, oh, I just want to just jump up and do it, right? And there's that tension to have that, automatic and immediate experience, like, so that immediate gratification, you know we need to create space. First, we need to create space for the information of that vision to truly land, and for us to really connect with it and communicate with it and cultivate it. Right. So knowing that, what I'm seeing, like, so just to give you a perspective here, what I'm seeing is that with your family, and I know that, we, especially with women, we carry that, we want to see the healing and the changes in our family. Right. And what I'm seeing though is that there's plenty, of time and space right now for you to just sit with yourself and take those deep breaths. And those skills and abilities, when you clear that tension over the time, over the have to, over those past things that are going on, that are still bleeding into this experience, then you can go, all of those things will start to naturally come alive, and you'll receive and know, what to put your attention and awareness on. Because when we create that tension around something, then it's harder to receive it, harder to be with it, because
Yeah.
of the way our brain wants to contract around it and make it into something. It's like we want to form it, we want to mold it and go, wait, it already is something. So if it's already here, because I know that's what I'm doing and who I am, then let's breathe into what's already here and let that start to guide the process. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. And I feel like, okay, it's already here. How do I see that more fully in the moment?
Yeah, it's inviting the conversation with it, seeing it as something that's a part of you rather than something that's separate and outside of you that you have to achieve.
Mhm. Okay, that resonates. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dawn. So we have a comment on the chat, and it says, Deborah says, yes, I'm having difficulty with clarity on what path I should be going on. I'm now 60 and retired and searching for both my creative outlet and connections. I moved and I don't have any friends in my new town. What can you tell me about what my soul wants me to know?
Ooh, yeah.
And if she is on the line, we may be able to get her to talk to you if we really try to bribe her to.
Endeavor if you want to come on mute, but I think she can tap into that.
So much newness here, Deborah.
Yeah.
Wow. Retiring and moving, and yeah, sounds like a new canvas to start to create with, huh? So let me just tune into Deborah, your soul, and what's there for you. So really curious too, and you can either write it in chat or I'll just keep tapping in, is this land. It feels like it's calling you. It feels like the land is really calling you to connect with the actual land and the energy of the land and the geography and the history and the nature that's there. It feels like that would be really opening for you and could lead you into new connections with people through, meetups or so your soul is like saying, just be on the land. You move to that land for a very specific reason, and it feels like that land will be very healing and providing for you. And it feels like there's something there, and it's like I see where you are, like where you are in your home and the geography, and then I'm seeing something that's close by you, and I don't know if it just feels like there's a density of nature, something like a forest or something that's like, come to me. That feels really reviving for you and vitalizing for you. And I feel your childlike nature wanting to come alive in that space that allows that passion, that playfulness, that creativity, that curiosity, that exploration to open up, that will then open your field to the connections that want to be had. But it's almost like just connect with your childlike curiosity, connect with the nature that's there, and connect with just feels like there's a lot of beings and nature beings that just want you to come out and play and support you in kind of shedding all the stuff you've taken on, in life pre-retirement and working. And now's your time. It's like, now's your time to be in joyful connection. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. Just not put any pressure on yourself to have to create something or do something. Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Deborah, we welcome your comments in the chat.
Yeah.
And she might be listening and have to hear it on replay as well. So that'll be a good message
That
for
was a
Deborah.
good one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So anybody have oh, she just responded.
She said, I love that. I'm in Florida, Florida Space Coast area, and thought about volunteering for horse farms and help sea turtles. I'd love to go hiking. I do love to go hiking, so spot on. That's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fabulous.
Yeah.
Does anybody else want a reading? You need to raise your hand. In the meantime, I'm just going to share a little awareness that I got while you were saying that, Kristen, like when these are so clear. And one of the things that I just got was that doubt is like the opposite of gratitude in a way. And it was just weird that it even ran through my mind. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. And maybe I can get your perspective on it. But when you have these moments of like total clarity, it's almost as if there's a certainty and there's no room for doubt. And all you can be is this already is, and celebrate it. And it was just so weird because I'd never even like made that connection before and thought, gosh, like certainty, not conclusion like certainty or a definitive point of view of certainty, but certainty of the energy of what you and who you are. It's just kind of like all this delicious gratitude. I guess more I was wondering that those are our thumbs. We don't know why it does that. We can make it do other things too. We've looked.
It's a setting, but it's kind of funny when it happens.
Sometimes when we do this, it'll like make all these like stars and things. Sometimes it doesn't. But what are your thoughts about that? Like, do you feel in your life that you are overflowing with gratitude? Is that why that came through right now, or what is that?
I've been working with gratitude a lot. And actually, as you were saying that, immediately, right when you said doubt is the opposite of gratitude, I just had this rush of emotion and like tears like came
Exciting. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Such a profound clarity that you receive, because it really is. It's almost like that when we have doubt, then we go against or we're in opposition. And we have that like, oh, that's not true. That's not real. So then we shift from what's there and what's real to, lack or disconnect
or past shit. Yeah, past story, past narratives. When you don't think that you're good enough, might fall in all that and everything. But when you have this, and can go direct with consciousness and have this guide to clarity, then, I can see how that the other side of that would be like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful just for following this energy, so anyway, that came up while you were doing the other reading. So I just thought I would bring that up. I just thought that was kind of profound.
Yeah, Jeneth looks at me and we're on mute and she's like, wow, she is really clear.
Yeah.
And when you were talking right now about how you got tears, it reminded me of A Course in Miracles, where it says that love is actually the opposite of fear. Not courage. And so that also made me think love. And we always hear about how gratitude is the accentuation of that love for a creative nature. And the love that we're talking about is the generative creation, not necessarily like the, the love that I let, the like boyfriend, girlfriend love, but the love that all there is that naturally creates and permeates through all of our universe.
It's even like the love that we're creating in this space, right?
So cool that you actually give us messages without even saying words.
I know, that was like totally out of the blue. I was like, where the heck did that come from?
I love it.
All right, Ingrid, you're up.
The resonance field. Can I just do a little bit more on that?
Sure.
One of the things that I have found that has been extremely powerful practice or clarity for me, and that I support other people in, is having gratitude for even the doubt.
Yes.
Because then that by acknowledging it, by acknowledging that anything that feels like it's, in opposition or not what, those challenges, and having gratitude for the challenges, then it can open us up to the communication with it for us to create the healing for it. Right. And then give us that love and openness. And it can take the charge out of it. And sometimes if you can have gratitude for something that doesn't feel good, it immediately can take the charge out of it.
Yeah.
And then it can be like, oh, wow, I don't need that. I don't need to put my attention and focus there, or it just leads to that path of healing.
Yeah, I get really, really curious about where did this come from? What can I do with this? Yeah. And follow those moments. That's beautiful. It kind of woke me up. All right, Ingrid's on the line. She's waiting. Hi, Ingrid.
Good morning. Thanks so much for the opportunity to share with you and with Kristen. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share this. I'm getting ready to start a brand new job. Super excited about it. It brings together an amalgamation of all of the past work I've done in a brand new way that I had never anticipated. And yet there's a part of me, and this of course comes right after we were talking about doubt and remembering all the things that led up to this, and how to really step into this in that higher way, that way that we all know we can be leave as much of that, doubt and will it work out, and how can I be different than I am, and bring all the things into this position that I really want and to people that I want to serve, from this particular point. So my question to you is, how to really fuel my movement forward, even with the doubts, even with the things that didn't work out before, and you're like, well, don't do that again, where you're just trying to prep yourself to go forward and wanting it to be this grand, platform and success, but knowing that there's going to be a lot of challenges on the way, and finding a way into and through that's going to be as harmonious as possible. So any thoughts you might have on that?
Yeah, fantastic question, Ingrid. It's nice to see you again, connect with you.
It's great to see you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kristen.
Yeah, considering what I know about what you've done, what your work has been, it's been profound, profoundly amazing work in the world. And connecting in with this, and I feel like you're already on the right track with going, okay, I know there's going to be challenges, acknowledging that, not being the star-studded, great new opportunity. Oh, there's an out, but I know it's all going to be great, going, okay, yeah, I want this to be successful. So what I'm seeing is that I'm seeing you kind of holding doubt outside of you. Like you're like, okay, yeah, it's over there. Don't really want to, I don't want it to creep in or mess up my reality. But what I'm actually seeing is to invite that doubt to yourself. So the doubt, you can sit with the doubt like it's a living, conscious, breathing experience, because it is, right? It can be for us. It has a lot. Doubt is an extremely amazing healer, once we can see it that way. So what I'm seeing is you actually connect with the doubt and say, okay, I doubt, I see you, I hear you, you're here. What do you need to show me? Where am I? Because when we hold doubt at a distance from ourselves, then we kind of just go, oh, everything's, we can kind of go to that space of everything's going to be okay. And I'm just going to go over here and ignore my feelings or ignore my thoughts. And that creates openings, for other things to creep in, the fears, right, or like you were saying, the old patterns.
Yeah.
So in the doubt is wrapped up in the past. Maybe things, like you said, haven't worked out. So you're going, oh, is that going to happen again? So you tend to those things. What happened in the past? Like, what were your behaviors? What were your thoughts? What were the things that were present there that you don't want to happen again? And connect with those things, and welcome into a possibility of, wow, now that I know that can be a tendency of mine or a pattern of mine, what do I want the new pattern to be? What do I want the new tendency to be? And that becomes a really powerful thing. What I like to support people in doing is sometimes role playing in your head, role playing in your reality, going, okay, if this shows up, if this conversation or this event or something shows up, how am I going to speak? How am I going to respond? What's going to be that new behavior? What's going to be that new experience for myself? So it's kind of like really going into it, letting yourself have the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions, and have that dialogue and connection with yourself. And from there, because I know what you are capable of, with the work that you do too, and that observation and that capacity, you can cut straight through it. You have that capacity to cut straight through it. And then also what I would say is one of the things that I like to do too is whenever I'm doing a project or working on something, I kind of set it outside of my energy field. I kind of take it, go, here's this living consciousness that I'm working with, which is the new job or the people that I'm going to be interacting with. And it's over here. It's got its own life. It's got its own experience, its own energy bubble. I'm going to disconnect my cords with it. And then I can just communicate with it and connect with it from that space. So it's not so entangled in your own energy system, And then that way too, it's not like this, because, we get that way when we're all courted by family members, work members, all that stuff. And it just becomes like this, it can become a muddled mess, for us to really have that clarity in our system and our life. So then we just kind of, let's just set it over there and communicate with it from that space. Yeah. And so that can help relieve the doubts too, because then you go, okay, I'm going to step into a field right now of that yes that I said to that job, connecting with the inspiration and the motivation to say yes to that job because you know it's right for you.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. And then go, okay, hey, fear, feel my yes. Hey, doubts, feel my yes, you know?
I'm going to replay what you just said and the way you just said it a lot of times in my mind. So when that does come up, I'll be like, okay, fear, do you hear my yes? Do you remember what that felt like? Like you have no power over me. We're not doing that. I'm going to stick with my yes. And it is a very solid yes. And you can feel it.
Yeah.
But that's huge because that was part of the issue from the past, was just getting energetically tied in with everybody and what was happening. And as long as it's out there and I can stay in alignment, I'm fine. Yeah. So the idea of bringing in the doubt, thank you so much. These are huge, wonderful ideas. And I will be sitting today with the doubt because we need to work through that before day one. So, and I will be, bringing this as part of my continuous practice. Kristen, thank you so much.
Welcome. And I love your background, very spring.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I want to do something that really reflected the way I feel inside. And it does feel like spring in here too. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Ingrid. Be well.
And Ingrid, you look radiant, by the way. You have a glow about you right now. So it really goes with your background. And as soon as you came on screen, I thought, wow, she's really glowing. So yeah, tap into that. Like, I loved what you said, Kristen, about putting whatever you're working on and the project outside of you and outside of your field, so that it has its own consciousness. I mean, it does have its own consciousness, but so that way we can communicate with it and allow it to show us what it wants, instead of having all these projections and expectations. That's where I get myself hung up, right? Mm-hmm. I try to force things, even the business, in my life, to what I want, and when I do that, I set myself up for disappointment.
Absolutely. Good point. And so I feel that, and then what I feel that we pick up too is, when we have those projections and expectations, of what we receive and what we would like to receive from it, that vision that we've had is a living consciousness because it's a part of our reality and it has a lot of connection with us, right? Because it's who we are and what wants to be created through us.
Right.
So then what I sense sometimes is that two-way street. Then we place those expectations into that vision.
Right.
And then it keeps feeding back to us.
Right. Because we're master creators. Like, so of course it's going to feed back to me what those expectations, and I've contracted it down when I could just let it grow and be and have its own life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Deborah put on the chat, what would be a great process to shift doubt to gratitude? And I feel that you kind of already answered that, but is there something else that we would want to put in the field around this?
Yeah. And what came in when you asked that was the somatic experience. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of times we're in our heads, about all of this, and we want to figure it out and think about it and have and so then let's go breathe. Yeah. Then we get to think, we get to think about, oh, right. Then switching the mind to what's the solution. Okay, I'm going to drop into my body because I know I'm holding this somewhere in my body. If it's in my mind and it's coming up, then I know something's being triggered in my energetic field and in my body. So then it's dropping into the body, breathing and going, okay, doubt, where are you? Where are you in my body? Or fear, or whatever the emotion or thing, challenge is. Where are you? And find that space, because normally we will find that space of tension. Maybe we're holding our gut tight. Maybe we're, our shoulders are contracted, or our shoulders are up, or maybe it's in the heart and we're feeling sadness or grief or disconnect, whatever it is. And then it's going, okay. One of the key pieces here is in this space, the gem of myself truly exists. All this is doing is coming up from that space, because a lot of times that doubt is really coming up from that space also that really truly knows the truth, right? And that we've had some reason or some experience that's created the doubt that's covering that up. We've used it to cover it up, right? Out of fear or discomfort. Then we go, wow, doubt. Thank you for showing up, because I know underneath you in my body is this beautiful energy that I am. And my energy and my knowing is this beautiful energy that I am. So support me in finding that space. And I'll breathe into that. And from that space, kind of going, oh, there's the light there underneath that. I'm going to shine it on the doubt. I'm going to open up to that doubt. And I'm going to say, you want to know what? I'm thankful for being here and even receiving the information that I could have doubt about. Right? Because that information is actually wanting me to grow and expand and do something and experience something and feel myself more fully. Right? So it's kind of like taking it into the body and breathing there, letting the energy start to flow.
Wow. Yeah, it's beautiful. I noticed that when I don't know, can't even think when doubt used to come into, but like, I don't feel like I'm even aligned with doubt anymore. Like sometimes I can make a big goal or wish, right, and put it out there, and it's almost like I'm just going to do my best to get to it. It's not like I doubt if I can or not. I was trying to think of a specific situation around it, but there was years before when I just laid in doubt. And it seemed to come back to like self-esteem or self-worth or something like that. Is that what you typically find around doubt?
Yeah, absolutely. Doubt really comes a lot from that space where maybe we've been rejected in the past, and or maybe we weren't supported, or maybe we felt disconnection from somebody that we wanted love from, maybe our mother, our father, or anything like that, or maybe we felt an inspiration about something and we dove straight into it and it fell flat and it didn't work out, so then there's that fear of actually taking that step, because what if that happens again? That sucks. So that's that space that will show up when we talk to the doubt, like, oh, I hear that. And maybe you'll have memories of the experiences, or maybe you'll feel it, in your body, and you'll hear the words that somebody said to you, or you'll say, wow, I hear that. I feel that. I recognize that I'm still carrying that experience. I'm still carrying that experience as a part of my reality that's affecting my experience now. So then it's like asking that part of ourselves, is it okay that we heal this? Is it okay that we let this go? Is it okay that we don't operate from this place anymore? Right? And ask that part of yourself, what do you need? And can I provide that for you? Can I provide the love, the nurturing, the connection, and doing it to the best of your ability in that moment, and that sometimes can lead to a much deeper process. It really goes in deep to any of the traumas, and maybe that's where you reach out for support from somebody else. But in those moments, sometimes we really can, just by having that connection with ourselves, wow, okay, so my 8-year-old just wants to go sit and stare at a tree, or wants to draw, or wants to play. And maybe if I give that to them, they can feel that freedom again, just to be themselves, right? Or whatever it is. Or go, wow, that fell flat. What did I learn from that? If I take away the anger or the frustration around it, what did I learn from that? What did I learn about it? What did I see from people, and what are patterns that were there in myself that maybe created part of it falling flat? And can I be okay with that? Can I accept that and create something new and different? So there's all these different ways we can look at it and start processing the experience that can allow us to go into that deep self-inquiry and that deep space of, I want to create change. What does that look like? And how do I, what would be the best path for that?
Yeah, getting really aligned with what it takes. And I guess that process can really work, whether it's overwhelm or fear like any big bubble, maybe less with grief, because I think sometimes you just got to go through that one. But yeah, any of those limitations that are really holding you back, I never really looked at it that way. I like the perspective for sure.
Interesting, because when we do that, sorry, I didn't give you time, but yeah, just say one more thing. Is if that's the key, is letting ourselves have the emotions. If we need to cry, if we need to feel the anger, if we need to, as long as, you're not projecting it out onto anybody else, you're just doing it in your own space, letting yourself really feel what you were feeling in those moments and letting that flow through so you're not holding it in your body and your space anymore is so powerful, because then you free up all that energy that you've been holding, and your energy can renew itself, right? For a fresh start.
Well, this has gone so fast. Oh my gosh. But Kristen did put up a special offer for us, and I would like to bring it up and have her go through it.
Yeah, the daily upgrade.
A daily upgrade. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
More.
So in the daily upgrade, there's several processes that I take you through individually, and all at once. So what the experience supports you with is using different techniques to really get connected with yourself, to become present, to become centered, to allow all the energy that you've taken on from your external reality to disconnect any cords that you're having, to really tune into the body, to connect with what you're really feeling, so that you can acknowledge yourself, right? And can go through whatever you're holding in your system to flush it out and create more energy, and then really get into your center. Really center into the body and center into your space, so that you really feel what that natural flow of energy wants to be. So there's an activation with your central channel that way. And then we go through, really the first step is really connecting with your breath, and what I did is then I took, and then we do the crystalline body. The last one is the crystalline body activation, where we're really connecting with the true sourcing of our light and our energy from within, which really creates, clarity, expanding the field. And then we can also really tap into our truth, really feel our truth, and have the energy and the clarity to move with that. So these processes are something I've been working with, and I do in my morning meditation. And I find that it's really, really powerful, and even gives us energy. Revitalizes the cells of the body and brings more energy. So so at the end of that, after I lead through each recording, has each of those pieces individually, so you can just pop in and listen to one of them if you feel that you need it. And then the last recording is all of them together in one guided meditation. And as I was guiding the meditation, it was like I expanded a bit on some of the processes. And then I also threw in there a gathering that I did in December called Cosmic Rebirth, that takes some of these processes, but also does exactly what we were talking about with moving things outside of our energy field, and clarifying, upgrading contracts, and doing all of that to support the clarity of your field. So we work with breath, we work with tuning into our present moment, we work with really acknowledging ourselves and what we're feeling, centering into their central channel activation, and also working with the crystalline light body to amplify our frequency and our energy. Yeah.
What would you say, how long should people take in doing this work? Is it something that they can go through one a day?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. The timing, so the individual ones range from like 5 to 10 minutes, somewhere in there. The longer one, that's really interesting. I forgot to remember how long that one went, but at least 30 minutes. The all one is at least 30 minutes, to where you can just, if you're in a space where you just want to go in deep and really. Each one of these practices, though, you'll come out feeling more clear and present and connected and grounded, because that's the goal of each one of them individually. And so when you do it all at once, it's really powerful. Yeah.
Absolutely fabulous, guys. So if you are wanting this clarity and this daily upgrade, it's $97. If you're watching the replay, you'll find it somewhere on this page. If you're watching on YouTube, it will be in the caption. And wow, what a cool package.
Yeah. And the thing about what I love is that it looks like it builds upon each other. And this is something, like you said, you use daily. So this is something that will grow with us. I feel like, right? Like, because when I read or when I experience something, I then go and integrate it, and then I can come back and experience it again, and it'll be a whole new opening for me. Is that kind of how you place that out?
Absolutely. Yeah. Each one actually builds upon the other, and kind of, because as we go deeper, we go into a more expanded process. We also work with, sorry, I forgot to mention the gratitude and pure love. We do that as well, to open up that field that just truly expands us into the abundance and richness of life as is, and we're not pinpointing like just money brings us abundance or whatever. It's really open that pure love aspect.
Love that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, go ahead.
This really seems multiversal.
It expands us. We do timeline work too. We do timeline.
Nice.
So we're clearing the timelines. Yeah, it was really interesting because I was doing the individual ones, and each practice, as we go into each practice, we go deeper in and expands farther out. So it's doing both. So we feel that deeply.
I got you.
Yeah.
And then I was going to share. Yeah. So when you asked me about my individual practice, after a while, some of these things just become automatic, and it doesn't take the 5, 10 minutes or 30 minutes. It just becomes like, oh, right. That's what I do right here, right now. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's truly learning the tools.
Yeah.
Here are the tools you can use to keep changing and keep upgrading, is how it seems.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Fabulous. I can't wait to listen.
Enjoy. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate all of you.
Thank you. Any last words for us?
Yeah. I feel that, the practice that we just shared really brings into perspective what I really like to do is just be present. Be present with yourself, whatever that takes, really saying hello to yourself, acknowledging yourself, your body, being in the now, not being in the past or the future so much, so that because when we're in the now, we access so much more energy, we access so much more information, and we can feel all that we are really starting to open up rather than, parceling ourselves out to all these other places and things. So really coming into the present, coming into your center, and doing what you feel is fun and joyful for you, really tuning in to what it is that you really want to be doing in your moment. That's really all we have is the moment. What do you really want to be doing in this moment and creating in this moment? And keep focusing on that and that, and that will lead you to the most miraculous places.
No, that's beautiful. I feel that you do that practice every day. That I feel that. Does anybody else feel more present after this conversation? Ingrid's like, yeah. She's the only one on video, though.
I imagine, Kristen, that you probably are this energy all the time, and you probably didn't even have to say anything for us to start to receive. I think that's so beautiful.
I know.
Thank you.
It's fabulous.
I appreciate both of what you're doing and creating in the world as well, and having us all together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to call this a wrap. That was amazing, though.
It was amazing.
All right. Whew, we're still streaming here for a minute. Do you want to keep Kristen up while we can? if Kristen, I have to go let this puppy out, or everybody's going to be like, wow, she's like abusing this poor little dog.
I don't know if you can hear it in the background.
Yeah, she's
Dog
like,
owns up.
can you hear her? She's like 2 months old, and usually my husband's here, but he had to go do some things at this time. So I need to go let her out, and I will let, you guys could do a meditation, even record it if you'd want. Kristen, do you have time to hang out for a little bit?
Sure, yeah, I've got about 15 minutes.
Awesome. You want to start a recording for meditation?
Sure,
We'll just do a quick meditation and
do you want to take over this one so you can mute out the pup or the noise?
Yes.
And I'll try to wait until you're actually in it. Okay, here we go. I don't know. You could keep those.
It's fine. Hello. All right. And this will be just like a fun little bonus to get people to listen to the replay. So, Kristen, if you don't mind taking us on a quick meditation, and then we'll let you leave.
Yeah, no, it's really beautiful. And I just wanted to respond to something that you said about being present and, just that space. I feel that it's such a powerful strength, a real powerful strength. And it really allows us to tap into our frequency of what it is that we really want to do. The presence is...
I think you're cutting it in and out. Is that the same for everybody? Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. So I'll leave. Yeah. So we'll just do a presencing meditation to our frequency and our connection to self. And just if you could, for the recording, if you could mute, because you're still all the background noise.
Yeah.
But it's for your recording. Yeah. So just taking a moment here and taking a deep breath into your body. As you take your deep breath into your body, just inviting yourself to this moment, to this experience. And I'm hearing to work with the self-doubt in this. So since that was a key conversation. So welcoming your breath here, inviting yourself to be here in this moment, inviting your awareness, inviting the frequency of clarity, of presence, of connection. And as you're doing that, just also noticing where you may be holding any tension in your body. So bringing your breath to that space. Where are you holding tension in your body? And if there is tension, just bringing your breath there and taking a deep breath with it and welcoming your breath to embrace that tension. Welcoming more space there. Welcoming more space into your body. Welcoming more space into your mind. Welcoming more space for your energy to flow. Feeling your feet on the ground so that you can feel your presence, feeling your seat, yourself in your seat. So allowing yourself to just settle into your body with your breath. And in this moment, as you're bringing yourself here, and acknowledging yourself and noticing what's present, just ask, your body and in your space, where am I holding any doubt? Where am I holding any doubt of myself or any doubt of an experience? Or any doubt for myself to have the capacity to be or do or create something? Where am I feeling that? And again, bringing your breath there. Maybe wherever you're feeling it in your body. And if you wish to, just welcoming a golden light into that part of your body. Saying hello to what's underneath the doubt, the truth, the magic, the power, the energy, the truth of yourself. Ooh, yeah, good. And let that golden light bring those two together to dissolve the doubt, to dissolve any places of, yeah, not feeling enough. We're not feeling received, heard, felt, seen. Ooh, yeah. And in this moment, maybe there's a part of you that wants to show up to you. Maybe it's a certain age or just a certain experience. And this experience could be something maybe that was challenging, or maybe this experience was actually elevating and uplifting. And just welcome whatever wants to show up for you in this space. And welcome that part of you also into the golden light, and just asking, what do you need right now? What do you need? And then from this space, breathing through your heart with gratitude for all that is present right now for you to connect with, for you to heal, for you to shift or integrate and embody something new. Even having gratitude for the doubt or the discomfort, even having doubt for or gratitude for all that's showing up for you. The doubt, giving it some space, giving yourself some space to just feel all the feelings and thoughts you have around doubt. Ah, yeah. Whew. Letting those emotions have their say, have their feel, and just let them flow into that golden ball of light. Good. And just welcoming your power, welcoming your strength, welcoming your openness of who you are that's underneath that doubt to start to shine and expand and open. Welcome the opportunity to embody a new experience, embody a new feeling, a new thought around yourself, for yourself, and what wants to be created through you. Welcoming the opportunity to just sit in this expanded light space of yourself. Saying yes to you, saying yes to the growth, saying yes to the learning, saying yes to the openness to the opportunities and the resources and the connections that will support you in creating this new experience for yourself. That it's possible, that you're capable. Ooh, yeah, good. Just feeling that land, taking a deep breath into the body. Again, feeling your feet and welcoming all of this to integrate into every cell of your body, to your nerve system, to your thoughts, to your mind, to your energy body, all of you. Yeah, good. Ah, taking a deep breath into your heart, letting all of this settle, feeling your feet and your hands. And then when you're ready to, if you wish to, opening your eyes to the space around you, from that space of clarity, from that space of knowing and presence. And if you need to stay where you are to keep processing, if that's needed too. So thank you.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much. I have tears. So lovely. And Jeneth will be excited to catch it on the replay because it was lovely. Thank you. And thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kristen. It's been a pleasure. Such a gift to have you. Wow. The chat says, thank you so much. Such a sharing spring gift. Hi, Kristen. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Kristen. I mean, just all the love. And gosh, just take that out, everyone, and just expand it. Yay.
Everyone enjoy your day. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me stop the recording here. Oops. Literally perfect timing. All right.
Hello, everyone. Hey, we're still here. We're still alive.
Let me unpin you. All right. Oh, I missed it. I'm sorry, but I'm excited.
Yeah, you will get such a treat on the replay for sure. That was so lovely. It was just, oh gosh, it was so peaceful. And I really had some locked and pent up, and I connected with even my baby self, just the imagining, and I just wrapped my arms around my younger self and just nurtured. And then even as a teenager, when I had some stuff that I was doing, I went on the road singing. I was a lead singer at the Haute band in high school, and that comes with a lot of judgment, maybe of myself and maybe of other high schoolers, because we were on TV, and so there were times where I had a lot of doubt and I had a lot of fear, but trying to step out into the bigger stage. And I think there are a lot of places that I also held myself back, and I just gave myself such a nourishing love and a commitment to, loving on her as a teenager through some of those scary times, being out there in front and center so much, and just saying, I got you, I always have you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so important for us to at least have our own back, huh?
Yeah. And I forget that I had those places of experiences that I'm sure operate and form who I am today and limit who I am today.
Yeah.
So thank you. It was really nice to explain that with everyone.
I think that's why it's so important to get into curiosity about those things. Where she, it's like literally, I'm curious about this one.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of times where, because I was such a happy kid, I also know that there were things that were in my childhood that would be really scary for most kids. And looking back, I now realize that I have to go in and nurture that, because it probably was also a coping mechanism. In some ways, I knew that I came in to be this really happy and light-filled child, despite, being surrounded, drugs and stuff like that, parents and family members, whatever, right? So whatever those experiences were, that I chose to be a light beacon. But at the same time, I now realize I have to go back in and really love on that light, that light child.
Yeah. Where it was like, oh, well, maybe I can't be light.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I can.
Or some of the confusing times too, where I might have had some confusion about, what was going on, and chose to look away almost not ignore it, but it's great that I'm able to come back and look at the whole picture, and also give myself so much love and gratitude for those experiences. It's a pretty big, scary thing, but I'm learning.
Right.
I'm a work in progress, everyone, right?
Yeah.
It's funny because I can facilitate for other people so well, and when it comes to ourselves, sometimes I'm the last person that that I can extrapolate from, and I've seen that.
Me too. Well, I'm actually better with myself on that kind of facilitation. It's like people that were coming to me for digital marketing, I was really good at telling them what to do, but doing it for myself, I'm like really bad about that. Like, and sometimes I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Because it's easier for me to say that than actually like approach each single step of it without, absolutely.
And it's not that it was hard or that you didn't know how to do it. It's just for whatever reason. Yeah, I totally get that.
Totally.
I'm sure there are a lot of spaces where people do that all over the place.
Oh, yeah. So much easier just to kind of go, I'm not even going to be present with this. It can wait.
Yes. Yeah.
Procrastination. Ooh. Oh my gosh. Did y'all just get that whole frequency of procrastination that came up? It's like, how much of procrastination is keeping you from truly looking at these things and unearthing these stories and these narratives, because you would rather just go away and make the task go away. It's funny, as soon as I said procrastination, I thought about taxes too.
Those are fun.
Man, I hate, it's like, gosh, it's so easy to just procrastinate that. So I don't want to, it's less about looking at it and more just a task.
Real talk.
Who wants to do some processing on things? What's going on in your world? It feels like it's kind of getting real present in here.
Yeah, Joe's laughing. I'm sure everybody can feel it.
I think there's little things that I procrastinate, but I usually don't put them off for too long.
You're pretty good about that. Yeah. I tend to feel, so I always say nature does not like a void. Mm-hmm. And when I create space, boy, do I love to fill that space with other useless things to do. I will organize like my medicine cabinet before I'll go do some shit.
But that's because that is so satisfying, organizing things.
Instant gratification, right? And I've gotten really good about it. So it's a working space, but I really do make myself laugh with how many things I can run out and try and go fix before I will look at something like, maybe it's taxes or some of those daunting tasks. Yeah. And they're just tasks. It's not even, I don't feel like I have anything super attached to it. It's just that I have to sit down and do something for myself. Or do I run out and solve some other problems, especially other people's problems, right? I used to be really, I used to be that for my whole family.
Yeah.
Just because I was pretty savvy. And so I found myself running to solve everyone's like financial problems, whatever it was. I was like, I got this. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I would start to ignore some of the things that were going on for me. Yeah. And it was a mechanism. It's another coping mechanism to run out and find somebody else's problems to solve. I don't know if you can relate. Hopefully a lot of people on the line here have done a lot of work and you have been experiencing a lot of change. Even in this summit, I was going to take a picture of being like before Haven, and with Haven, right? Like now, because the other day I got up and was like, I hadn't run in a while, and that used to be my secret sauce. And we had finished an activation with one of the speakers, and I was kind of blissed out. And then as soon as that wore off, like I just went into the gym and I just hit treadmill and I was running, and I thought, wow, and I felt like I was glowing.
Yeah.
And it was able to, what I realized was that the energy had moved off of some other stuff. And so my natural state of being was coming through, like my inner energy. Because I'm telling you, there have been times.
No, extra.
Yeah, yeah,
There's so
yeah.
much extra in there.
Yeah. So I don't know if you've got some before and with Haven, but I definitely have been experiencing.
The day that we did the Aqualorian stuff.
Yes.
I left that and I was floating, and I went for a swim, and it was just like, I mean, I could have done it all night.
Nice.
Yeah, I won't. But it's almost like there's this extra authentic energy that gets unlocked in doing this work.
Yeah.
What did Joe say?
Joe says, so today is pretty much my day to be quiet and not protect myself with my intellect. I so can relate there. Just caught that last night.
Love that.
That's vulnerable. Thank you, Joe. Many times I find that I'm around a lot of technology people and a lot of people that love to show off their brain.
Me too.
And so a lot of time, and I've always been around those people because I tend to be kind of techie too, and I like to dive into the areas where people are having good intellectual conversation. That sometimes what I find though is that protecting yourself with intellect is one of the ways in which we can kind of keep people at bay. And I thought that was super vulnerable, and I've done that too. They don't have to know me because I know so much or anything like that, or I can handle this, and I can solve that problem. So I don't really have to, dive into being closer with people or ideas, right? You could say, I already know that.
I used to memorize these powerful quotes from powerful people to say that, just kind of let it fall off my tongue. I just can't do it anymore. But yeah, it was like impressive for people.
Oh,
to be like, Napoleon Hill said blah, 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 blah. And there's the story around it,
Yeah.
It's like, it was performance. I mean, people bought into it. And
interesting. That's vulnerable too.
Yeah. Because I'm just done with the performing. I even feel that being on camera more this for 3 weeks has made me go, you know what? Gosh, I talk a lot and I say a lot of knows. So now that I said that, you're probably going to hear it the rest of the show.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm generally going to change that. Maybe I'll just try to consciously mild it down where I can. But also in working in this space, Jeneth, wouldn't you say that we are trying to come up with words to describe stuff that is not, that escapes
no
our... Yeah.
And sometimes it's all the same word, right?
Right.
Like, I could say Galactic Council, Crystalline Light Grid, and multidimensional, work about almost every one of these speakers. And then you'll notice they are all
different.
So different.
And amazing.
And they all kind of have their unique flavor with it.
Yep.
I feel that Kristen was really about clarity and upgrade.
I also got that nature, that true, like, engulfed in nature about her. If I tune into the
everyone
energy,
needs a little bit of that earthiness.
And that's what we keep saying, is that we created this summit to bring a variety of different speakers. And while they're giving, the truth in different messages, how it lands for someone, how someone else is to receive, we're all different. And where I am in my journey, where I am able to receive, who I'm able to receive from, or what I'm open to receiving, it's different from you. I mean, even she and I have a difference of opinions, kind of, not even opinions, but just how we share.
Yeah.
How we facilitate even. Yeah. And that's totally great and okay. And that's why it's so amazing to be all these different expressions of source.
Yeah. It's also really fun that when I'm with these people, and maybe you guys notice it as well, is like when Kristen was talking about a totally different subject, and then I get like this awareness about doubt and gratitude. It's like, where did that come from? I mean, right? That literally came from the conversation to call in more of the conversation.
Yeah.
And and it just is awareness, and it leads us into places that, great, now we've eliminated a few people's doubts.
Mine for sure.
Right?
You have to listen to that meditation.
Yeah. It made me really look at it. I'm excited to put that extra meditation out as a bonus too.
Yeah.
So in a way, the puppy was even a contribution.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. She's like,
ooh, that's deep.
I want hear my voice. I'm working my throat chakra.
Yes, she is. But there was concern for you too, because you're pet sitting. But there was concern. You're like, oh my gosh, it's right during the summit.
Yeah.
Very young puppy, and hadn't crate trained
Hasn't
before.
potty trained. Yeah.
And look at the contribution that brought.
Today.
Yay! Now we get a free, now we got a meditation gift for you.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's so much more energetics that she brought to the show too.
Yeah. Puppy energy.
Yes, everybody loves puppy energy.
They bounce like this high. She's like this little dog, but she'll be like, whoa, hey. Do you have springs in your step?
So, Jeneth, I want to do a little bit of exercise here and maybe just interview you for a second.
Oh, fun.
And I also kind of want to dive into, what got you here on your journey? And I know we talked about this before, but I kind of want to also go, like, what are you loving right
real
now?
Story around this. Here, should we start a recording?
Yeah.
So we got it.
She didn't know I was going to put her in the spot, but it's fun.
I actually had, last night when I wrote up an agenda, I had something I wanted to talk about.
I haven't even seen this agenda. She wrote it up.
So the puppy is an Aussie. She's an Australian Shepherd, but she's going to be a full-grown, not a mini or anything. But they're loud and high energy, and it really comes through when they're puppies. When they're 2 months old, geez. So I'm going to kind of miss the puppy.
Oh,
I'm kind of grieving her already. I've had her for 2.5 weeks.
Christina says, I'm moving out of my home, having a clue, where am I going after this? Stressful, but at the same time, very exciting. Yes, I love that. My mind is in a better place than my body, which is used to fight and flight mode. And any insight and energies that you can pass on to me, ladies. Ooh, you want to tune into that? Let's go. And then I'll interview you.
Yeah, I don't know if we should interview or just talk about it.
Sure.
Sorry, what was the question?
So she says she's moving out of her home, and having a clue. I don't know if she says
no clue or a clue.
Maybe if you want to come on the line, Christina, we can help facilitate that too. Where I'm going after this. So that's stressful. I'm kind of thinking maybe it's not a clue. But at the same time, it's very exciting. I know that you definitely are tapping into the excitement of it. And honestly, sometimes I get the impression that if it was really solidified, it may not be as generative for you. So there is definitely a gift in the fact that you have that open expansiveness around this. My mind is in a better place. Good. Better place than my body, which is usually in fight or flight mode. I had grown up with a lot of fight and flight mode, just energetically in my system. So I kind of didn't know what the difference was to not be that way.
Here's my advice though on, moves in general is think about some of the elements of what you want to experience, because it could be a move just down the street because you're already loving the elements of, the grocery stores around you and the, the spa or whatever you go to real nearby, right? And then there's also people that are just like, I feel contracted and condensed, and I just have to get out of this space. And when you have to look at those, it's like you've got to look at, okay, what energies are you not liking about where you're at, and make a list of all those things going on, and then
She says exactly.
yeah, and then just.
But she did say she doesn't have a clue of where she's going next, and she kind of made a laugh about it.
I kind of wonder if that's actually true.
Yeah,
it is true. It is true.
But that's
Where do you think you might be going?
Well, I'm going back to Sweden to my parents because the owner suddenly decided to sell the apartment. So literally, I have no apartment. So I'm homeless for the first time. So I was like, wow. So yeah, I will see where I end up. If I end up back again in Sweden, or if I come back here to the beautiful island. I've been here for 30 years, so it's very
kind
up
of
in the air.
Yeah, I do, and I get that that's super generative for you right now. And that was the energy I got from reading your question, that if you had a clue of where you were going, like if you had something so solidified of where you were going next, it wouldn't be so expansive. So that is exciting. That's
I think
really juicy.
that's you that's where you go next, and then you just have to be in this energy of what is next.
Yeah, so
Exactly.
it's time for you to play with it. So ask a ton of questions
and a ton of journaling.
Just
Okay.
what's light, what feels light, and yes, what feels light, and yes, and choose from there, which is awesome. There are some times in my life where I felt super trapped with where I was.
I feel like you might meet a man.
Ooh.
I don't know if you want a man, or you want a woman, or you have a man, but I have some sense on that, by the way.
Wow, that's amazing. Because well, for many years I've been told I was going to meet someone. I never met anyone, and then they tell me, well, are you open to meet someone? Well, I said, I don't know, but so it hasn't happened yet. So
I don't know where that came from. I don't know anything about that part of your life. So I just that just came through. It seems like it's like a 4 to 8 month thing though. So it's not going to happen tomorrow. Right away as soon as
It could.
It might could.
But yeah,
maybe you can speed that up.
Here's
Time and space collapse.
Okay, and
everything happens at the perfect timing, the most successful outcome. So
right.
So everything happens at the perfect timing.
Yeah.
It does. It really, really does. And there's a gift in that. What I'm being told to share with you is to position yourself well in the field, so that you can align. So every decision that we make it shifts us within the field. And if I am over here, let's say that I was dating somebody that I didn't like, or that we had a struggle relationship, and in the back of my mind, I know he's not for me, but I keep still hanging out with him. And so if I'm focused over here, Mr. Cool and cool in the game for me is over here. And if I'm pointed and I'm aligned in this point of the field, whenever he comes to cross, he misses me. Does that make sense? And so when you make your decisions and you make your expansive choices, you want to ask the questions, does this feel light for me? And that will move you within the field so that you two intersect. And so do those extracurricular activities. And the other thing I'm getting for you is, you know the good old feng shui books, right? Where they say like make space for the person. Literally go and make some space. Like if you're sleeping in the middle of the bed, start sleeping on the side of the bed. Start organizing your life.
Making space for
that,
literally
for that person, that really expansive person to come, not the washed up person, but like not the person for you, not that anybody's washed up, but just not the person for you, but that really, really one that's going to be generative and a gift to your chapter in life.
Fun.
That's so fun.
Your new man.
That's perfect. Because when you do your move, go buy a feng shui book and you can just put up little stuff around the house. and organize your new things in your new place. That
Yeah,
allows
but I
for
don't
that.
have a new place, so
Yeah.
I don't know
When you
when I
do
will
get
get the
one,
new
yes.
place.
Yeah, so you can just put out new things, like, organize it that way.
Yeah.
That's great.
Thank you,
Fun.
ladies.
Thank you.
Yes.
That was fun. Fun what comes through. It just is like, what?
It hits you in
But
the
what does
head.
that have to do with a man? Like, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, yes. Someone says
my
clean out drawers and closets and space for him. Ooh, see?
See, space
Everybody's
supports
getting
a
it for you.
vacuum. Yep.
Yep.
My friend, one of my best friends in LA, she runs a company called Love on Purpose. And her husband work with women that specifically want to find not just a man, but their man, right? And she has them do all kinds of things to first love themselves, like same what we're doing here, but then she even has them like put all the details on the perfect man and go into the visualization of this perfect person, how they would treat you, what your lunches and dinners would be like, how you'd work together if you'd work together, or interact together in the evenings, like what would their day job be, and make the whole fantasy. And it seems to work. They've been in business a long time and make a lot of money, so.
Seems like you've got two things to investigate, Christina. Yes, but definitely use this as a generative time, and thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
I love Anita's responses to her were like, yes, clean out drawers, make space for him. Maybe your new place will be your new man's already new place. Ooh, maybe he's making space for you.
Right?
Yes.
Imagine that. Like, what if there is somebody out there that's just looking for that perfect person to come to Sweden?
Oh, and you'll have to report back to us too.
Yeah, join the lounge.
And
Join
she
us in the lounge.
said, I put myself up on a very fancy dating agency as an extra. Ooh, too fun. Christina, you're doing all the right things. Now this new move is going to be super generative. I love it.
Yeah.
And I love that. So I have to read all the comments because we do share this on a podcast. And so you don't get to see all that visual.
Comments, yeah.
Yeah. So, but come back and let us know how that's going in a couple months.
Yeah.
Fun.
Talking about the podcast, we do have a vision where we are going to put this out on Apple Music. We've already put out like 4 or 5 episodes, and we're really curating some of the best from the series. So if that's easier for you to listen on a podcast, we're going to put out an interview a week right now and see where it goes. So if that's something you're looking for, you can already Google Hot Hustle, Jeneth and Lyanca or something like that, and it'll come up.
Yeah.
There might be some other old stuff out there with me too, by the way.
And mine too. I had some other stuff that I've done in the past, but definitely look up Haute Hustle, and you'll find it anywhere you find your podcasts.
Yeah.
And I think it's easier sometimes too to be able to share those audios with your friends, so they can get there and have some healing and some love as well.
Absolutely. So you guys want to know how long ago it was that I started this show?
Yeah.
So get this. When I was at Dell Computers, I kind of had this like corner office job with this miserable team that I had to work with. And she knows the story. It ended up like the universe basically kicked me out of that place. And I had a computer crash, and it was end of quarter, and I was getting all these numbers that I have to get from these different teams and things like that. And it was just like incredibly stressful because I had no computer, and I was literally having them print paper and I was writing out things and having my assistant put it all in the computer. Well, I had some higher staff that was hunting me down. It's like, when am I going to get this report, this, that, and the other? And I'd be like, look, it's been 2 days. I'm still waiting for a computer when I'm at a computer hardware company. I didn't say that at the time, but I was like, this is weird. And it ended, and it was a Wednesday afternoon. It was probably like 2:30 or 3. And I was kind of abusing my body or hiding from life by drinking a lot of diet soda. And I had reached maximum capacity in my belly and I had to go to the bathroom. Well, it's like just chaos with all these people. Like, here's this and here's that, and I will get this to you. Just give me 2 hours. And, none of this I could track on my computer. I was like, at one time I was just sitting on my desk and I was just in such a high vigilant state that, I was just crashing that day. And I was like, you guys, I've got to go to the bathroom. And I even said to one of them, you can ask questions, follow me in. Well, there was not just one man, but there was also 2 other seniors that were trying to get things from me. And they were women. And those women followed me into the bathroom. And as I was peeing, they were asking me questions. Not about when they could get things, but questions about what are your projections and other things like that.
Wow.
Like things I even had to think about.
Wow.
And I just lost it for a minute. And I said nothing. It was just like so daunting for me that in a professional environment that this would happen, I think. Plus, I was peeing, and I was peeing a lot because I hadn't peed all day.
Because you had all the Diet Cokes.
Well, that day I left, and I had recently bought a car. It still had that new car smell and everything. Now I don't love that new car smell as much. But I just walked out, and I literally just crashed on the steering wheel, and I could smell this aroma of this new car. And I heard these words that was like, walk away. And I was like, interesting.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was the first little taste. That same week, I then got a call, I think it was a Saturday morning, from a TMer, which means transcendental meditator. And I had been doing yoga and, I knew meditation. Like, it was kind of like there, and it was there just basically as an escape from this like day job that I had.
Yeah.
And that ended up in me like going, oh, now a TM, like somebody is like calling me and saw my number. And, they're like, I just want you to know things are going to change, and you're going to need a little support, but things are going to be great. Wow. So just follow it. And I felt like saying, can I get your number or something? But we didn't exchange any information. I thought for a minute,
an angel call, like an angel
call, right?
Yes.
And I thought for a minute, what are they trying to sell me? Right? Like, that's what strangers usually do when they call you up on the phone. And it was before the time of us, seeing all the even recordings. This was 2006. So that was
not a lot of people talking about
not transcendental meditation or anything like that. So that's where it started.
It was before social media. It was before. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Interesting that your soul had already known to start to find other ways to exist.
Get to me. Yeah, I was so resistant. There was just so much like, it's this way. And I did also have something inside of me that wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, that was really where it all began. And then I thought, so I have a degree in nutrition. So this started off where I thought I was walking away, Dell, to be a nutrition coach. There wasn't any energy work or going down this path. I was like, I'm a nutritionist. I'm going to be a nutrition coach. Yeah. I didn't want an office. I didn't want that. So I started to look up coaching. And then I found this girl named Allie Brown. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she used to be the easing queen.
That's right. She did the e-zines were like
And she
magazine,
did these
email magazines.
She did these shows, right?
Uh-huh.
And you could join them for free. And sometimes they'd have an offer. Sometimes it would be her offer.
Sure.
And I started to learn marketing from her. And she brought on this man named David Nagel.
Okay.
And David Nagel was the first one that really got me like, oh, interesting. You can manifest and create from like vision, right? It wasn't rocket science at the time. It was just kind of like, yeah, this is how you go in and do that. And I started studying with David Nagel for a little while. And that went on to about the end of 2008. And then in 2009, I was, writing my book. Well, no, I guess it was before that. My book had just started to come through in 2008, 2007, 2008. And so I had this one little book, and it was just me. And it just kind of started there. Then I started, after David Nagel, then I started being like, well, Allie does these interviews. I want to do these interviews too. And I was kind of looking for a partner at the time. And I got hooked up with Darius Barazande. And there was somebody in the marketing field that had done a telesummit.
Okay.
So Darius and I had just written our books, like almost at the exact same time. And we both wanted to promote them.
Yes.
So I said, well, there's a girl in the marketing field that's done all these interviews, these sampler set, and she calls it a summit.
And that was Allie?
So Darius and I started the summit.
Nice.
Yes, Allie was the person.
So fascinating, y'all.
Yeah. So that's kind of really all the details of it. And then the summit started, and then, Darius and I, we worked well together, but didn't want to continue.
Yeah.
And so I gave him the list, which might not have been a good idea, but I did that in exchange to keep the branding at the time.
And you still did. I mean, when you and I hooked up, you had already amassed a huge following, and then we had the very fun privilege, or I got the very fun privilege of helping you
do the events.
Yes, I mean, gosh, and then it just blew up from there. It was amazing. Yeah. We've had some fun times together.
I do want an event, you guys.
It'll happen.
Yeah,
I'm excited about that.
I'm kind of thinking October, November could be a small higher end group where we do body work and stuff like that. So.
We'll put some pictures on our website or in our Instagram feeds of some of the previous events that we did. Some of them were like big audience ones where you got the drapes and all things and everybody comes in from out of town. And then we've also done some very intimate ones.
Where it's like on a yoga mat.
Oh my gosh, it was so fun. And we stayed at ashram, and we got to eat there, and just being on the space was so beautiful. And then the stuff that came through in that room, it was just a very small VIP upper level, was fascinating. And to this day, I am forever changed by it. Yeah. It was so cool, y'all. And we definitely have a vision for that too. Yeah. And we still have people that we interact with all the time that still have memories from that. They still have change that they tell us about
In
all
fact,
the time.
I was just talking to my friend Dawn that said, you're going to do one? I want to come. I was like, great. Well, you're invited.
It was so amazing. I'm putting myself there in that room, and the body work and the tears and the opening and just being so real and in a space that really facilitates that outside of all of the whole world. And you just, when you come out of there, you know you have forever been changed, because I remember like coming back into like all the advertising and stuff like that, and just feeling kind of like, whoa, I get to choose from here what I receive. Yeah, and I still operate that way.
No, I know. But the body work is kind of wild. I mean, sometimes I'll have them like on their knees, like it doesn't always have to happen on a massage table. I facilitated this one girl, and she was sitting on a bolster kind of on her knees, and I was just working through her heart space and she's like, and her back, and she's all over the place. I mean like a little worm, It was It's really, really
So
cool.
cool.
Yeah, it's really cool work.
And even in the bigger the arena, when we did the big
With
large
Dan.
one, I mean, we've had people on massage tables in the back
Oh, yeah.
doing stuff. I mean, people could just get up. I mean, this is not like one of those stuffy type environments. Like all the live events have been super full of energy, and people could just get up and they move. And
They dance,
yes,
and,
I mean, if your body feels like kind of walking around the room while somebody's giving a talk, I mean, it was totally.
It's not like just you sit in a chair and I'm not that kind of girl. I can't go to those things.
She told me that. She's like, and I had done conferences for like, very stuffy corporate America for a long time. And I had never done a conference in this way that was so generative. And I was like, she was like, Lyanca, I'm not gonna be able to sit in a chair for that long. And I'm not gonna ask the audience to either. And I thought, okay, all right, well, let's just make this happen then. And it was so freeing. And I remember the participants being like, I've never come to anything like this that was just like, because usually, there's a lot of like stipulation around like what people are supposed to do and what they're supposed to experience and how they're supposed to experience. But one thing I know about us is that we like to like, disrupt everything, right? Whatever those systems are.
I usually feel that most ADH people, they like to stand up, move, and experience things like while they're doing yoga. Like they don't want to just sit and consume or sit in meditation for too long. I just feel like it's just we're restless people. I'm a restless person. And that's okay, because I know how to deal with me. In fact, sometimes even sitting here in this chair, like, let's go. Well, we've got 10 minutes before Meg shows up. So if you want to go get some water or something like that, feel free to do so. Meg talks specifically on working with narcissistic family, right? And literally, she asked the question on the top of her website, is your illness created from your childhood? So I think it'll be quite the interesting conversation if you feel like you have a narcissistic, family member.
What I learned is that I didn't know that I did for a long time. I mean, probably
you just
a couple
thought
years ago.
that was how you were, right?
Right, and I didn't really know that there was a dynamic until I started to learn this work, and it changed things too.
Yeah. I feel like more of my son is a little narcissistic, and I was already past. Like, okay, well, go for it.
Go for it. I love that you give him so much choice. Yeah. I'm gonna run off and yep.
Great. So you guys, what's coming up in your worlds? Anything that you are you ready for narcissistics? So while she's gone here, let's just take a minute and kind of tap into the field so that we can be really present if we've lost it, although I don't really feel like I have since Kristen. Some of you were here yesterday. I did this really cool clearing the noise thing, and I've got this kind of awesomeness thing that I call, and I usually start it by rubbing your wrists together. So if you just want to, I can start up the energy. Just give me a second. It's just kind of a floaty thing. Go ahead and expand out. Go ahead and expand out and see how far you can reach. And let's just take 3 deep breaths. Just kind of coming back into alignment, coming into your field, your energy, while also being the spaciousness. And expand out a little more. Letting go of any of the extra. And then allow this thrum, this energy of awesomeness to just take you for a moment, taking away those things that are up for you, taking those things that are keeping you from totally being present here. And just take another breath. Letting all the distractions just go away. And then one last deep breath, allowing it to be almost like this warm steam comes through the body, allowing it to take you. And now notice the elements that are around you, any light that's might be coming in, the gravity below your feet. And then go ahead and yesterday we had a hypnotic suggestion. So let's go ahead and reactivate that. This little peace sign and then a double tap on the heart. I just made balloons. Again, little peace sign and double tap on the heart. All right, and Meg just entered in the space, so go ahead and take one last breath and come all the way back. Open your eyes and be fully awake. Woohoo. I don't know if you guys can hear the background, but the puppy now went on little howls. She's like, bark, 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 all right.
Puppy home.
All right, let's find Meg on the chat here and we'll bring her up. Let's see, there she is. Pin. Perfect. Let me stop the recording. I guess I didn't start one for that. There, we're good. Hi, Meg. We're live here, so we just play around in between callers. You're muted.
There we go. I'll do it every time.
Yes, you do look beautiful. Thank
I'm really
you for joining
excited
us.
about this topic. Let me go ahead and start the recording and give you an official introduction.
Okay, great.
Okay, you guys. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Jeneth Lyanca.
And I'm Lyanca Jeneth.
And this is the Hot Hustle Show. And today we're talking with Meg Haworth, and her focus and her life's work is all about helping you heal from narcissistic folks. And I just found when I read the title of your site, could your illness from your childhood be causing you to be sick or something to the tune of that? And I thought, oh my gosh, I've got to interview this woman because clearly there's I know, and Lyanca knows, and some other people, especially the people in this line, really know that so many of the energetics of our childhood, of even teen years, gets like locked into our bodies, and we get stuck with this, and we get stuck with these narratives and these stories that are really keeping us from truly living our best lives
And being healthy.
and being healthy. So let's talk. How did you get into this work? I think you might even need to explain what narcissism is, because we were both like, it took me a while to even realize. I didn't want to use that name. It sounded so harsh. So let's start there.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, can you hear me okay? Yes.
Yes. Sorry.
Oh, okay. All right. So that went off for a second there. For some reason, it's not picking up my microphone, but as long as it is, people can hear me, we're all good. So at any rate, the way I got started into working with really the effect of abuse, childhood abuse on the physical body over time it was my own story. And I had over a dozen illnesses by the time I was in my 20s, when most people are out there having a good time. I was in bed, like sometimes for weeks at a time, get these severe muscle spasms in my neck and upper back from scoliosis. They would just give me drugs and say, go to bed and let's do surgery, that kind of thing. I had depression, I had ulcers, irritable bowel syndrome, migraine headaches, endometriosis, like the list went on and on. And at that time, I didn't understand. It took me a while to put it together. But as I started to research and try to figure out what is going on with me, one of the things was food allergies, which is how I ended up becoming a holistic chef. And then the other piece, because the food allergies only took me so far, and I really helped so much, but there was still so much anxiety and so much fear. And so when I started to really study that and work with that connection between emotions and how they affect the physical body over time, I got introduced to psychoneuroimmunology, the field of mind-body medicine, and I was just hooked. I was like, this is it. This is the thing. And then when I found transpersonal psychology, which is what my doctorate is in, that's when everything just took off, because the healing was so rapid, so much more rapid than traditional psychotherapy, which I'm not knocking. I think it's necessary for survivors of narcissistic abuse. But it is, it's just slower. So I found that I got in one session more than I got out of 15 years of therapy. And that's why I ended up becoming a transpersonal psychologist, to help people with this holistic perspective of healing from abuse. And narcissistic abuse, I think, is one of the biggest problems of our time. People are discovering it. People who, they call me all the time, they're in their 50s, 60s. They're like, I finally see what my parents did to me all along, and why I ended up with a narcissistic husband or wife. And yeah.
Will you talk a little bit about what a narcissistic person is?
Yeah. So one of the most dangerous parts about a narcissistic person is that they have no empathy, which means that they're just not able to feel with you. So when you have a parent who doesn't feel with you, they're always disconnected from you emotionally. And so you grow up with this emotional neglect piece that's really, really difficult to deal with. The other thing about narcissists is that they will be completely self-involved. In other words, they see everything in the world as relating to them. And that's one of the things that empathy gives us, is that ability to really relate to another person and say, oh, that must be so hard for you. But a narcissist is unable to do that. It's like, I see it as it's usually, I think, associated with trauma, childhood trauma for them. And I see it almost as like a decision, where they make this decision that I'm not going to let love in, I'm not going to let love out. And growing up with a parent like that is a really difficult thing. So those are the two major things, is that lack of empathy and ability to really be able to feel with your child and to be so self-involved that everything becomes about them. And that's really the cry of the narcissist is it's all about me. And so
Right.
you end up learning to be in service to that person. And then if you're sensitive and empathic and intuitive and all of those things, you end up becoming usually a codependent people pleaser, which, hey, I understand what that one's
Right.
like.
Yes, yes. What are some of those telltale signs that you can, when you are interacting or have a relationship with a narcissistic person? Or is that too big of a question? Because as I say it, I'm like, well,
And I think that just shows how damaged they were too.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of compassion that can be given there.
Now, because there's different types of narcissists, there's the grandiose, there's two major categories, and the covert. The covert is more like, oh, look at me, poor me. There's always something wrong.
Yeah.
You're supposed to fix this for me. And that gets that message really early on. And then the other piece is the grandiose narcissist, where it's all about them, no matter what type of narcissist they are, but they have an overinflated sense of self. Because they've created it. They've created like this fantasy world in order to really survive their own trauma. It's a shame-driven disorder. And so that's one thing that you'll see with a narcissist is they use shame as a tool to wear away at other people because they're not willing to look at their own shame. And that's another way to tell about a narcissist is, are they willing to look at their own part in things? They do not take responsibility. They will not take responsibility. They don't even understand the concept. And I think that's a big part where empathy plays a lot into the disorder. Is like, if you can't see yourself and how you're treating other people and how that can affect them, you can't really participate in a relationship in a way that's healthy. So, and that's a big issue with narcissists.
Well, let's transition a little into what to do if you're in a position, I don't want to use victim, but if you're a victim of narcissists.
It's a fair word. It really is,
It is.
You are victimized. You are, a lot of us therapists who work in this arena will say it's death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah.
Every single day, just they whittle away. And they can whittle away at you with just being so sweet and so nice and all of the confusion that comes along with that. The smoke and mirrors aspect of being around a narcissist is just endless, So I see you laughing there. Yeah, it's like,
it's almost like gaslighting a little bit.
It is.
Yeah, not necessarily on purpose from their, I don't know.
I've subscribed to like a narcissistic newsletter, and after I started to dive in and really know that I play a codependent person in a lot of my relationships, I wanted to know what the other side looks like. And when you say sometimes that they do gaslight, and it's a tool, am I correct in saying that?
Absolutely. They're master manipulators, and gaslighting is a way to make the other person believe that they're crazy. So it takes the focus off of the narcissist as being the problem and puts it on the victim. And then the victim, every single person who comes to me says, Dr. Meg, am I a narcissist? And I always say, well, if you're asking that question, that's a good.
I've asked it
because you're being you're self-examining, and a narcissist won't do that. So, but they will believe at some point, oh, maybe I'm the problem, because they're constantly shown and told that they're the problem. And when you grow up with this kind of parent, you grow up in this self-blame, self-shame cycle that's not easy to get out of, but it's very freeing when you do. So.
Wow. So if one of our callers knows that they're a victim of this, like, where would you have to start with the story or your problem to help them free themselves of it?
So I meet them where they are. So whatever the thing is that's up for them, where they feel like the most damage has happened in their lives. And that's why I identified these five primary wounds
Right.
of parental narcissistic abuse in general, so that they can see, you know, like, well, is it their self-esteem? Like they have zero self-confidence. They can't seem to get a job or hold down a job or that kind of thing, or they feel like they're a total imposter in everything that they do because they
They're always wrong. Yeah.
see themselves, they're always wrong. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
They never get it right. Those kinds of the self-talk. So if somebody's really ruminating and that's the dominant thing in their lives, you know, just is telling, they're beating themselves up constantly. They're literally re-abusing through this voice that gets reinforced by the narcissist and really programmed into their minds. And this can happen at any point in your life with a narcissistic relationship, not just with a narcissistic parent.
Well, let's go through those 5 pillars so that everyone kind of knows and can look at their life and go through it. And then would it be okay if we took a few callers for you to help?
Absolutely.
Mini sessions. Okay.
Yeah, that would be great. So
Yeah, we already have some hands raised. And I think that one of the most fascinating things is that many times people just don't know that they're in one of these types of relationships. I mean, completely blind. And I was for a long time. Yeah.
yeah, because again, it's the smoke and mirrors, you know,
Yeah.
when they're hoovering you in, they can be so sweet.
Oh man, it's it's turned up.
And you think soulmates and, you know, but then the rage bursts and the criticisms that are really cut deep. Like they take the thing that you're most sensitive about and then they, so yeah.
Yeah. Wait, can we go through the 5 pillars real quick?
Yes, I'm sorry. So the 5 primary wounds. So the first one is self-esteem.
Okay.
Self-worth, how you feel about yourself. That's one that I've seen I call us ACONs, adult children of narcissists. And ACONs have been conned into believing all these things about themselves are not true. And it really, because, you know, the narcissist is a master manipulator and a con artist. And they're conning you into their reality. And as soon as you name the reality and say, hey, wait a minute, there's a problem here, you shatter their worldview and then they just lose it. And then you're the recipient of all the abuse from them losing it. So anyway, what that does to self-esteem and self-worth and your own value is it really muddies it. So you can take a really strong person, and a lot of narcissists will go after really strong, confident people because they are an amazing source of supply.
Yes.
I like the word energy, like because it's really an energy dynamic. They're
Interesting.
bragging on your energy, and you feel literally drained, slimed, feel by the person. On you. So anyway, so self-esteem, self-worth is a big wound. Self-expression is another big wound because they don't let you be who you are because they're trying to control your every move. You're supposed to be there for them, so being yourself is not okay. So being self-expressed is not, it's not something, they're not going to pull that out in their children or in their mates. They might at first, because that's how they reel you in. You know, they'll be like, oh my God, you're so amazing. You're the most person I've ever met. I love what you do. And then they start whittling away at what you do and your own self-expression. And because self-expression has to do with the 5th center of the human energy system in the throat, communication, self-expression, willpower, choice, all those things get taken away. And I often refer to this as a prison of silence, where they're silencing you. Not supposed to tell anybody what's going on in the home. You're not supposed to speak up and defend yourself. Oh boy. You're not supposed to do any of that stuff. So yes, so that's the first one is self-esteem and how that whittles away at that, and self-expression. I think one of the worst things they do is they take away your identity. So self-identity really wrapped up in your self-expression and your self-worth. That's how you identify as a human, you know, like what is it you love? What is it you want to do? What's the core essence of you? Your core essence is not going to be celebrated unless it
Benefits them.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then behind
Interesting.
closed doors, it's going to be taken down notch by notch.
Mm-hmm.
And then people will be shocked, like, no, he or she's would never, like, they're so nice. They're so amazing. They're a pillar of the community, they're so
Yes.
Well, they have to be right in that community too. I mean, I think, don't they make their life all about being right?
oh yes, they're
Yeah.
very, very rigid thinkers.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Okay, so we've got self-identity, self-esteem, self-expression.
Yes.
Is there two more?
Yes. Self-trust.
Mm-hmm.
Huge one. It's not just self-trust, but it's trusting everyone else.
Yeah.
So get really disconnected from our intuitive selves. And this is one of the things I help people do, is to develop their intuition so that they can be more self-trusting and more self-reliant. They don't want you to hear your own inner voice.
Wow.
Hear theirs. Their voice is it's all about domination, really,
Yeah.
and control. So self-trust is a thing that really gets shattered. And then your trust in other people, because you're just,
Mm-hmm.
how did I let that in? And then you beat yourself up. It's like, no, they're the one who, they did it. It's like Dr.
Yeah.
Money's new book, It's Not You.
Right.
Like, what a great title.
It's not your fault.
Not-
That's like the
It's not
biggest.
your fault.
Yeah.
You're being thrown. I always say they throw you under the bus so many times you're a pancake.
Oh,
Just,
Wow.
and then they do it to other people too. So
yes.
Mm-hmm.
threat to them.
Yeah. Well, and this is more common than we know, right? Like this is, I mean, I think everyone probably knows of a person like this. Is there a study or a fact around that?
There's
Do you know about?
statistics around it. And they say it's maybe, I think, 4% of the population, mostly male versus female, which is really a high number when you look at total population, but still it's so hard to identify because, I mean, you just look at the struggles people have just trying to identify that's what's been happening all along, and it's been happening for decades.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It became their normal. So, and again, they've been conned, and there's the smoke and mirrors aspect. So it's so complex. It's really hard. And then the other thing is, a narcissist is not going to go and seek help unless, again, it benefits them. It makes them look good somehow.
Yeah.
And then they're going to manipulate the therapist and manipulate
Yep.
everybody in the room, because that's what
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
so it's hard. It's, because it's not really reported, and a lot of therapists, I hear this all the time. A lot of therapists don't really know what they're up against when they're dealing with people who have been raised by narcissists or who are in narcissistically abusive relationships. There's so many nuances about it and this is why a lot of people come to work with me. It's like, oh, she's been through it. She totally gets it. She's going to see
Yeah.
and understand me. And I'll hear things from clients who went to therapists who would say things like, sort of a snap out of it kind of thing. And it is not that simple.
No.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. I think especially if it started since you were born, right? There's no snapping out of this.
Yeah.
This is like, and it seems that one of the messages that I hear so often is your body remembers. You may not know the narrative, but your body knows. And it seems as almost that you might have to go through the body in some cases to do so.
I think it's necessary. As I say, the body always remembers what you're trying to forget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be reflecting back to you what happened. And that's the fifth wound, actually, is the physical body and how it absorbs the impact of the emotional experience. And it's not just the emotions, too, it's the beliefs. It's the negative core beliefs that get really lodged in the system. So if you get, beliefs lodged in your stomach, which is your center of personal power in the human energy system, which is one of the things that sets me apart from others, is I look at the human energy system and where are your energetic drains happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I created a technique that helps people to release the emotional root cause of that pain in the body, and then let go of that emotional energy and that limiting core belief. And then I watch them get well. I watch them get empowered. I watch them be able to change their lives. And it's the most incredible thing. It's what I did for myself too.
Yeah. Well, you had symptoms directly related. It seems that do you find that there are some like illnesses that are in common, like belly or
For people that are codependent, that are playing the
because that'd be all self-esteem in there.
Yes, a lot of digestive issues, because that's the center of personal power is your mental body, and then intestinal issues. So the digestive system, like mine, was wrecked. And that second center of the human energy system in your abdominal area, that's your inner child, that's your emotional body. And we all get really disconnected between those two parts of the self. I call it a house divided. And that really looking at your child patterns and your adult patterns. I do have an inner child program that I do one-on-one with people. In addition to it just comes up in therapeutic sessions as well.
Yeah.
But it's a super important piece of the healing, is healing that inner child when they've been through these abuse experiences, and how that affects the physical body over time. And you asked about other diseases too. Lung diseases are a big one associated
They
with.
feel like they can't breathe.
Yes.
Literally.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a really good point. You're right. And breath is your spirit, it's breath of spirit. It's the energy. You can't live without your breath. And you can't live without your energy system. But most of us aren't even really taking care of our energy systems. I imagine people in your community are. They're very aware of that, of consciousness and expanding consciousness and spiritual development and energetic evolution and all of that. So,
Yeah.
Meg, I have to be honest. Even though I've been around and I've done this journey and my spiritual journey for over 12 years, there are lots of areas where I still am learning every single day how this affects my body. And I just talked about some of the digestive issues that I still have going on. So there's a lot of work that, that's still there to be uncovered. And I think, and I welcome people to just explore more.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because the body is going to hold this experience, and it's going to have the keys, and the body and the subconscious mind, I think they're one thing. And when you get into the body and what it's storing and understand that part of the self and how it's been operating, and get to that place where you're just like, you know what? I not only can let it go, I need to let this go, because on the other side of that, then they get to come into the freedom they've been looking for.
I'm going to be very vulnerable real quick for a second and say that I was a child that had two parents that my father was a drug dealer. My mother was a drug addict at the time. My mother is amazing. She's sober for 10 years, and she went off to get her master's, and she's working at Disney as a costume designer, like all the things that I've always loved her for. However, as a child, I saw and experienced lots of, odd things. I knew I came into Earth to be a happy child. However, that also comes with some caveats of, being that light being around everyone else, where there's a lot of sadness and a lot of despair around me. So and I know that's showing up now.
Yeah.
And this is very vulnerable for me to say, what are some of the things that I should be aware of or be on the lookout for, or start to heal?
Yeah. So, and that again, that's individual to you and what's happening inside of you. And first of all, I'm so sorry you went through all of that, because it really does hang in the system. But it takes time. And again, it's meeting you where you are. So the thing I'm feeling with you the most as you ask this question is there's deep sadness in there. There's grief, which I was going to say the lungs are the seat of grief in Chinese medicine, which is one of the reasons why it's a primary disease associated with narcissistic abuse. And so healing and releasing the grief from wherever it is that you are holding it in your system. And, a simple way for people to begin, and for you, since we're talking to you, for you to really do that next step is, to close your eyes for a moment and take in a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just scan your body and that grief that you've just been talking about. Where do you feel it the most? Heart and throat. Okay. Yeah. And so we call this area as the high heart. So it's the center between self-expression here and self-love, universal love, divine love. And so that area, that's telling me that's where the drains are, that where your sadness is where you're feeling it. And something that people can do that are listening now is, putting your hand on that part of your body and just asking, please help me to release this energy of sadness. And you can do breath, breathing in and breathing out that energy of sadness to help you relieve your body of some of that. We all have the ability to self-heal. Like I think you guys know this really well. We are self-healing mechanisms. Our bodies are. And when we give it that support and that love and that permission, it's like, it's okay to release this. It's okay to let go of what is in your body right now. It can do so much to help you with releasing that energy.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that was great.
Thank you.
Yeah. So then the practice is just continuing to be aware and to work with healing, especially when something might arrive. Like even I guess if you lose your voice, like, like often that there's a trend, I think, that could go directly with that self-expression. It's interesting to watch kind of the pattern with things.
Yeah.
All right. Is it okay if we take a caller?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Hannah has her hand raised. Go ahead and unmute yourself and say hello to Meg. Hannah, are you there?
Hello.
Oh, there you go. What's your question for Meg? No? We can't hear you if you are speaking. All right. Well, maybe she lost.
Maybe she has to
lost
type
her
it in.
voice.
Yes.
You can type it in if you wish, Hannah. All right. I'm going to go to Lana K. You're up.
Hi, thank you so much for all three of you for doing this. It's so healing just to hear you talk. I had a narcissistic mother, and I'm still, I finally put my foot down when she started abusing my first child. I said, no, I took it from you, but it's my job to protect my child, and I put her out of my life. And I'm on my way to healing. I just don't know what steps to take. And it has, like you all spoke about, have been showing up physically in my body. And um, I'm just wanted to know if you have any advice on what steps to take towards healing and letting go. And I was also wondering, I wish that she would get better as well, because I feel so bad that she's suffering.
Your mom?
Yes.
Yeah.
My mom is like, she's very narcissistic, but she's suffering, and I put her out of my life. But I wish that she would also heal.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, one of the things that we'll do is we'll focus on them so much and want their healing. which is very compassionate and empathetic and caring of you. And that's one of the pieces of the puzzle, is really grieving, letting yourself grieve that that's never going to happen. Letting yourself get to that place of acceptance, and it's a process. It's not something that happens in a few easy steps. One of the things I'm hearing from you just intuitively is that you feel like you're really in a place where you really want the next level of healing, like you're engaged in your healing process. And that is so important. That is one of the most powerful things you can do, is really make that full-on decision. In fact, that's the first step, I believe, to healing, is making that full-on decision of, what's up next and what do I need to work with next. And working with releasing what I'm sensing with you is that'll be really helpful for you, is working on releasing that energetic tie with your mom, where there's still that pull from your energy. Oh, there you are. It's nice to see your pretty face. So that energetic tie with your mom's energy. And I do energy exercises. That's one of the things I do in my work to help people to release those ties. A lot of people talk about energetic cords, but this is like a different thing when you're looking at narcissistic abuse. Each person kind of expresses them differently. So one thing you can just do on your own is similar to what I was saying a little bit earlier, is, scanning your body, feeling, where do I feel this emotion, whatever that strongest emotion is for you, that sadness or that fear, because maybe I just feel like there might be fear there for your mom, and sadness that she'll never do her healing work, and that true desire to want that to happen, which is really beautiful, that you still feel so much love and desire for her healing at this point after everything that's happened. Because I know it's been a long road, right? And so feeling, where do you feel that emotional energy in your body, putting your hand on it, asking to release as much of it as you possibly can, asking to release that energy, so that that experience of her continuing to drain you, because even though you may not see it this way, that compassion that you are just giving out to her so willingly and easily is actually draining you and feeding her with more energy. Does that
Wow,
make sense to
that's
you?
amazing. Yeah. You just showed me a part of it that I was completely blind to. So thank you so much for that. Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, you're welcome. I mean, traditional psychotherapists will refer to that as codependency, and but I think it's co-energetics, it's just you were trained and they hooked in from, before day one, with whatever story they told themselves about what your mom, you were going to do for her, basically, how you were going to show up for her.
You're 100% right.
Yeah. So send you blessings as you go on your journey. I'm really happy for you that you are working towards your healing. That's where the gold is for you, so you can really become who you were meant to be.
Thank you so much. That was so helpful.
You're so welcome.
Yeah, thank you. All right, Hannah said she's fixed her mic. So Hannah, you're up.
Okay, great.
Hey, can you guys hear me okay now?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so Meg, you have described my life story. I was actually just messaging Jeneth directly just in case. But I seem to have hit the narcissist jackpot because I have an overt narcissistic father, a covert narcissistic mother. I have two siblings who are older than me. Each one of them chose a parent to emulate. And so I just was born into this incredibly toxic environment. So everything that you described, that's me. So I have two questions. The first one is, I really want to have a healthy relationship with each family member. Is that possible? I'm learning that, especially as I'm on my own healing journey and as I'm loving myself and I'm setting boundaries for myself, it's become harder because some of it I just won't put up with.
Yeah.
But I am choosing to have them in my life because they're the only parents and siblings that I have. The second question I have is, as part of my healing journey, I'm a few months into EMDR therapy, and I didn't know if you had heard if this is helpful. I'm actually finding that after each session, I'm leaving more frustrated because it's putting me in memories that are so hurtful, and it's kind of pinging instead of just one event to recover from all the pain of my entire life. And it's too many people around me that are doing it. And I didn't know if you had any advice on whether I should continue that or not, because I'm almost at the stage where I'm feeling like it's actually more harmful than helpful.
Oh, wow. That's very telling right there, Not everybody responds well to EMDR. I mean, I didn't do well with it personally. I just thought I'd share that. But, and, on the one hand, it's stirring up the energy so that you can really know what's next to work on, which is, always a helpful thing. But if it doesn't feel as supportive to you, I mean, I feel like you kind of know the answer to your own question there, and it's a matter of you really finding a therapeutic process that really works for you. And that's a journey. And I would say too that I wouldn't totally discount it in that I think everything that you feel like intuitively attracted to and that you do will help you towards your ultimate, your healing process. Because I love the word to heal, because it really means it's the process of getting well. And so you're on that process. And I often say that as long as you're in a body, the fun never stops, that you'll always have that process, and that that you'll be working through. So I hope that's helpful for you. But I feel like the answers to that question about EMDR, you already know the answer to that. Does that make sense?
It does. I feel very similar to your upbringing. And so with you saying that you didn't find it necessarily helpful for you, I relate to that as soon as you said it. So I think it has its place where it can be helpful. I'm just thinking for this specific part of my life, I'm not sure if it's the right therapy.
Yeah, exactly. And everything works, but it doesn't work for everybody,
Yeah, that's
so
true. You've got to be called to it. One of the things that helped me really know myself better, or help me with self-esteem, was triliminals. I was interviewing this guy, Maury Zelkovich, who did triliminals, which is basically 3 different sounds in your head.
Oh, I remember him, and I remember that now.
Right? Yeah. It was really kind of shifted me real fast. They were so incredible, you couldn't think of other things while it was happening. And then you just kept thinking about how confident you were and how empowered you were, and because you had keep hearing this, and it almost sounds like it's in your head. I did EMDR before that and didn't really care for it. It made me agitated.
That's exactly how I keep feeling, is so agitated after every session.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was just I don't get it.
And Lana just asked, did you say it's EMDR?
Yeah.
It's eye movement desensitization. I forget what the R is for. Therapy.
Rapid movement.
But it's something that a lot of traditional psychotherapists have been trained in, because it's kind of like the best that they have at that level, in terms of really, it's ultimately energy exercise. But I've noticed along the way that a lot of empathic, sensitive, intuitive, spiritual types don't do well with EMDR. But again, it's try what you feel led to do, and what you think might feel right for you, and then go and try something else if this doesn't feel like it's the place. But you asked the first question, I think is super important to answer, and that was about your family and your family members, and will you ever be able to have a healthy relationship with them? And the only way you can really have a healthy relationship with really anyone else is they need to be working on that relationship, their own relationship to themselves and their relationship to you as well. And so your best bet, in having grown up in a narcissistic family system myself, is that you can get to a place where you have so much empowered self-love and self-respect and self-adoration and self, you can be
Yes.
You can't even let it in because you know yourself so well.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so you get to a point where you can just energetically, they'll start doing their thing, and you simply don't engage because all those energetic ties, you're done with them.
Yeah.
Like you've done a lot of work on yourself, and you're
aware, right?
And
you just sort of commit to, like, I'm going to have this surface level
different.
relationship with these people in my family, and that's okay. That's as far as it's going to get, and that's okay. Narcissistic parents really mess up the sibling relationships. Like, just they pit each other against each other, and then it's very complicated. So what were you going to say? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, we talk a lot about that on the show, is that, the reason why we bring on various different speakers that could even be speaking on the same topics and may on the surface seem like they're using the same practices. Every person is different, and how they receive, for the speakers and the work is different. And where people are in their journey and what they're willing to let in is different. So just keep checking in what's light and what's true for you, and, keep choosing from that space. I think another thing that's really cool is that if we're talking metaphysics or from an energetic standpoint, you'll get to a place. Is that what you call the icon, where where people are in themselves, that all those selves, that they don't have to have their parents no longer be the teacher anymore, and now you can be all of you, and so that lesson can just fold and be the great lesson that it is and had been for your life.
Yeah, like she was referring to is moving from wounded acon, adult child of a narcissist, to healed icon. And that's the icon of your own life. And that's independent, confident, original, and
I love
naturally
those.
you.
Yeah.
Like being the original you, which got just completely masked, just stamped out, literally, because there was no space for you to be yourself.
Wow.
Unless it benefited the narcissists.
Right.
And that's no way to live.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, did that help answer your questions? And do you feel complete?
That did. That was incredibly helpful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hannah.
Yeah,
Thank you for being so courageous and to share.
Thank you.
And Hannah, I wanted to share too, I have a YouTube channel, have a ton of videos on parental narcissistic abuse that would be probably really helpful for you, where I talk more about the energy dynamics and things that could help you release that. Of course, my whole person integration technique that I created to help release the energy, that emotional energy from the body, might be helpful. So just, check it out, see what feels right for you. And yeah, just check it out.
Thank you. I'll definitely check that out. I love your energy, and I'd love to check out your resources. Thank you for your help.
Yeah, it really seems like you're the one that can help people heal from this. Yeah. Can we take one more?
Yeah.
Okay. Jeneth, every time I go to say your name, I always blub it.
Ganesha?
Ganesha. You're
Hello.
up.
Such a pretty name.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you for taking my question. So, for quite a few years, I've already had like a healthy self-esteem, and I mean, growing up, I didn't have any self-identity, self-expression, self-esteem, but for quite a few years, I've already had good self-esteem, good self-expression, and identity and boundaries. But it seems like there are physical issues that are buried somewhere inside that manifest as digestive issues and insomnia primarily. And what can be done about those? They do interfere a lot in life.
Yeah. So my sense of you is that there's, you kind of said it already, is that subconscious programming that is interrupting your sleep, that my sense is it has something to do with nighttime growing up and how difficult that was for you, because there's that hypervigilance feeling. And I feel like that when you release that hypervigilance feeling that's sort of embedded in your system, that you'll feel so much better, that you'll be able to sleep more easily. But it was that sort of training of you got to be on high alert because, when you wake up tomorrow morning, who knows what's going to happen next. But something's going to happen, so it's sort of that feeling. Does that resonate with you?
Yes, definitely. But how would I release that?
Well, the method I use, this whole person integration technique, I actually will work directly with what I call the hypervigilant self, or the vigilant self, that part of you that is, and that's so active because it's sort of like a frenetic energy, and see how you're storing it in your body and help you to release the thoughts, the feelings, and the beliefs associated with that. So that's specifically what I would do. If you were working with me, I don't know are you already working with some kind of therapist or energy healer, or hypnotherapy might be helpful as well?
Well, I tried, for example, one session of hypnotherapy, one session of EFT. I've tried different things. I find that it's possibly it would take a while to clear up, or I'm not sure, because I feel like with the EFT I didn't really resonate with that so much. I didn't really like it that much. And hypnotherapy, I found it difficult to trust that I'm actually in a state of hypnosis. Like I'm like questioning. I find it hard to relax in that way, really.
Yeah. And it's like that thing where not everything works for everybody, but everything works. But I would say that more than one session is recommended for really any modality, because that first session, sometimes they're super powerful and you get so much out of it. And sometimes it's just like just scratching the surface. And if you're having, because I just keep feeling this hypervigilant self for you being the thing that is being very protective of you, and you needed that when you were growing up. You don't need it so much now, but it's become like this programmed habit. And so if you can maybe even focus on that, as releasing that part of you that's really lodged in your body and in your subconscious mind, and finding something that feels right for you to do that with, and knowing that it is going to take time, and maybe several sessions. It just depends,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, definitely it is that hypervigilance. Like I might be exhausted, tired, but really cannot relax my mind or my body.
yeah. Have you tried other things to help that? I mean, there's just so many things out there, sleep fixes and things, but I think it's so much more than that for you.
Yeah.
I will explore what you mentioned earlier about I forgot what you called it, a whole body something.
Yeah, whole person integration technique.
Yeah, whole person integration. I'll look into that, definitely.
Okay, great.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome.
Thank you, Ganesha, and thank you for being vulnerable and sharing.
So we do have a package that Dr. Meg has created for us. Well, she didn't create it just for us.
But she did give us a really nice discount.
But there's
to
a
offer
big
to
discount that goes with it.
Right,
So
to the
I'm going to
audience.
share my screen and she can kind of go through the package and tell you all about it.
Yeah, so basically, I have an online course called Healing the Five Primary Wounds of Parental Narcissistic Abuse. And oh, thanks for putting that screen up. That's great. So it's an online self-study course which has energy exercises in it to help you release the energetic bonds that you have with narcissistic parent or narcissistic partner. And it is designed to help you go from wounded icon to healing icon. And they have a specific link that you need to use if you are interested in doing this. But it's a $50 off coupon.
It's at the very bottom of it, and make sure that you get the coupon code at the very bottom down here.
And it's actually discounted generously from what it originally is. So the coupon, you guys, is on top of that. We just really wanted to be make it available so that you could get the. I mean, I know for me, the healing work that you need, and or if it's not from Meg, from somewhere else, but. Thank you, Meg. What was it normally? I missed that part. It was $497. So correct.
It was $497, and then I had a half price, the $297, and then I'm giving an additional 50%.
Thank you.
Off.
Yes.
Yeah. So
fabulous.
And yeah, spring 24 is the coupon code. So
guys.
Yeah.
And it comes with a private community. I mean, some of these things are very, very valuable. It's not like, hey, let me throw you some MP3s.
No.
And Meg,
I'm not doing it justice with this little page.
This little page. And when you click over, it actually goes to her
full course. So you could see the information.
Yeah, it's huge. So don't that little page isn't really doing it justice, but you do need to grab the coupon code from over there.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, that's where you get it. And then there's also a payment plan.
Like circling things.
Yeah, I don't know how she's doing that, but there is also is it a 5-pay payment plan? So it really makes it just an easy 6-pay. Thank you. Okay. Payment plan. So you could just make monthly payments on it. Is it monthly?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can so it makes it so much easier to really choose yourself if you feel like you're struggling here. I mean, I'm saying this from experience, that there is nothing like truly having someone that has experienced it themselves be the person that's taking you through this. So thank you, Meg, so much. I get tears just talking about it.
Well, and I think that sometimes. I tried to bring on the experts of the experts of the experts for this. And it was very clear to me that you are an expert. If you guys really want this healed and healed throughout your body, this is the course for you. There's nobody else that we've interviewed just on this topic. She specifically deals with just this topic.
She does other things.
Yeah, I know. She does other things, but this is her thing. So I just wanted to... the value of taking you out of a hypervigilant state, possibly for the rest of your life, is quite the thing. They recommended through hypnotherapy that it really takes about 6 months to completely clear things. And then they encourage everyone to listen to these hypnotherapy MP3s daily. So it's work to get through something that has been, 18 years of childhood that you've been, fighting off, feeling a little abused, not sure what to do with, feeling judged, feeling wrong. On a daily basis. If you can heal that in 6 months and be a different person, that's gold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, versus 15, 20 years of traditional psychotherapy that you just go every week, and then you just feel like you're on this hamster wheel of your story over and over and over again.
Yeah. And you might get to some things a little bit on your own. I just think it's incredible. And I'm so glad you're doing this work.
Me too.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And the people I've talked to so far in the community are just really wonderful.
They are. Thank you for acknowledging them. We've
Yeah.
had some really great people experiencing some really fun changes, and this is deep work, people. I mean, it is, I've been doing this work for, I've been in my journey for 12 years, and just a couple seconds talking with you, Meg, I've already had, full on tears come up from a past experience. So, be gentle with yourselves, people, everyone here, and know that we are all growing together.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's such great advice. Be gentle with yourself, be kind to yourself. And that's hard, really hard for an ACON because you're so
Well,
used to that
that's
self
what they do. That's how
thing.
they identify themselves now. That makes total sense.
Yeah, it's really hard, but it's reversible. You can definitely reverse that. And it really comes from everything we've been talking about is that self-love, and engaging all parts of the self in your healing process, mental, emotional, energetic, and spiritual, and physical. All those things are one. And then on top of all the stuff I do, there's also the food piece that I help people with is food to support the body to heal itself because I was a holistic chef to celebrities for 14 years.
Cool.
Yeah, pretty
I
cool.
want you here in my house. That's actually one of the things on my vision board is that I want a chef. Or I want somebody to cook weekly meals. They don't have to be here every night. I just think that'd be just super cool.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great. It's amazing. It's a real game changer.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes a huge difference in your emotional state when you're eating foods that aren't anxiogenic, which means anxiety provoking. And there's lots of foods out there that are, and finding out what those are. And that's part of what I help people with as well.
Yeah. You guys, I just put the link in the chat for the special offer. Make sure to go down that first page and then click on the button, but look at the code before you click on the button. And I will write up details around it on the various pages where the special offer is so that the code doesn't get missed.
Yeah, so it's spring 24, but you can grab it from the
The
page.
page.
And if you have any questions or you have any trouble, just you can always write us. It's team@hautehustle.com, spelled this way.
With an
And yes, and anything that we talked here. I mean, we also want to hear for your comments too. So anything that you're having breakthroughs that you may too shy to share here on the podcast or on the show, please let us know. I mean, we definitely want to help support you as well.
Lana asked if there is anything about the correct foods to eat in the course.
Yes.
And she says you're also awesome.
Yep. And she said you're awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So are you, Lana.
Oh, that's so
So are you
sweet.
both. It's just been really wonderful being a part of this and being able to really kind of answer questions intuitively, that there's the openness for that. Because, that's really, that is where the power is in that
Yeah.
intuitive self, that has those answers to help you. So,
Yeah, well, it seems that that a lot of people are coming around these days to intuitive help. It's just, it seems like there's so many mainstream things that it's just like, nope, can't go there. So it's kind of fun that we can.
yeah, absolutely. Because it's where the gold is. It's where the healing happens,
Right, especially when there are the same symptoms for narcissistic as there are for, as I've been talking about for 2 weeks, perimenopausal, right?
Yeah.
Like some of the same symptoms for something like this from childhood could also be hormonal, or it
Yeah.
could be, I mean, I think that everything's created for a reason now.
Thoughts,
ahead.
the beliefs determine your health and wellness, illness in your body. And that's where we don't start and where we should be starting. Everything begins with a thought. Every single thing we do. You want to, Steve Jobs comes up with the iPhone,
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And it was a thought first, and then it became
Yes.
a physical thing. And the same thing happens in our bodies.
Yeah.
So I think the more we start to really get that and incorporate ways of healing from that perspective, the better off we're all going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And the world is changing, so let's see. So Meg, any last thoughts that you want to, that's coming through?
Yeah, just I think a primary thing is to take your healing into your own hands, learn to listen to your own inner voice, your intuition. You're leaning towards something, and know that if you lean towards it and it doesn't quite work the way you'd hope to, you're still getting a benefit because
Yes.
your intuition led you there.
Yes. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you don't find you're right. I mean, I didn't go deep into anything until I probably did like 30 to 40 little baby courses, and then I found my people and I was like, I'm diving deep into this work. So I think that's well said, and it needs to be put out there as a reminder. Yeah.
Many times.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.
All right. All right. We're off, but we are free.
Thank you, Meg. Oh, I hope you
my
come back and
goodness,
play
it was
with us
so
again.
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much clarity there. I just think it's just incredible to go there. So thank you. And thank you for the work you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a gift to the world. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, you guys have a great day. And we've got more awesome stuff coming up.
Not today, but tomorrow we do, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay, great.
Thanks so much. Bye. Just a reminder, you guys, if you do watch the replays of any of these calls and you have any questions about special offers or links or anything like that, you can always message us. Just send an email to team@hautehustle.com. So
tomorrow we have Vivian, and it's another out of this world conversation.
Really out of this world. She channels the Arcturians.
Yes, council. And she works with the crystalline soul healing in the unity field.
And she's an avatar and knows it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you listened to the call with the Humna. She identified herself as a walk-in, but I think she's actually an avatar. I was saying, sometimes when people use walk-in, I just kind of roll my eyes because I know I'm one too. But, I think, when people know that they're an avatar, and they put that out there, you really got to go, interesting. So definitely show up for that one. The Arcturian, that Galactic Council, those are healers. So I'm super duper excited about that. And she has education around this too. So that should be a really, really interesting session tomorrow.
Yes.
And then we have
let's see. And then we'll be talking and having some conversation about that and some of the healing that has been going on. And so we'll be recapping a lot of the summit as well. So we'll be talking about the lounge, talking about the different energy works that we've talked to throughout this entire process. And then later we had talent.
And the next day.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, this girl literally has captured my heart. I started following her, I think in late October on Instagram. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she's almost like how I was 20 years ago.
And she went viral.
And she then, right after we talked, she went viral on TikTok and Instagram. And there's other people that have been writing her up. And she has this knack to just follow the energy, no matter what. She unwaveringly does this.
And so down to earth and humble.
Oh my gosh, incredibly humble.
Yeah.
So make sure that you don't
join
miss
us for this,
Thursday as well.
Oh, and then Friday we added another day.
And then Friday,
what?
We're doing an encore. Our very first speaker, Ambajam Rose, who is my bestie and I adore, and I usually always have her kick off our summits because she's just so good.
So she's going to start and end with her.
End with her.
I
But
knew
it's
I
a
wanted
brand,
something
it'll
great
be
to
an
come in.
all brand new session.
Yay!
So for the next couple of days, it will just be morning, and then it'll be us. And then the next week, we will be back for our kickoff for the lounge on Tuesday. And then that Thursday at the early time, I will be doing a group hypnotherapy session.
Juicy. And I'll be on
will probably
vacation.
have you guys vote on a few titles. I've been collecting titles over time through this last 3 weeks. So I will have you vote on what you'd like to do for that hypnotherapy session.
Oh, so yes, I discovered talent on another hot summit. So thank you. And then the other comment was,
so that you might have heard her on my last summit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, thank you. And then the other comment was, I love Vivian. Woo.
Oh my gosh. I don't know much about her, to be honest.
We haven't had the opportunity.
My gosh, I was called to reach out to her because it just looked so juicy. So exciting. So we'll see you tomorrow at our early hour. Same time, same place. Thanks for the recommendations. You guys feel free to send speaker recommendations. We're going to continue these interviews every Tuesdays and Thursdays from here on out. And we would love to have your contribution. I mean, you're a part of this. And we know that you've also heard some other great channelers and mediums and the whole shebang. So please let us know. Thanks, you guys.